Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lex Yachts here. It's Saturday morning, and I'm doing a Saturday Share the Love Club for the original voice of the Toronto Raptors. Yes, I'm starting early because I want to go ahead and get the stream over and done with. I'm ready to go, and in some ways, I got stuff I want to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and start 20 minutes early and just start talking about the daily Raptor stuff. And there is stuff to talk about. Of course, there was a day here in Toronto yesterday that really didn't check the boxes in the ways that I wanted it to. So in some ways, I'm really pissed off today, actually. I'm like, I don't know how he managed to do this, but I'm more against retiring Vince's jersey today than I was yesterday after watching all the bullshit yesterday at Dixon Court Park. Seriously, I am more against retiring Vince's jersey. In fact, I'm thinking about boycotting the Raptors and not going to any games this year because of this bullshit too. But anyway, we're doing something different first to start on a positive note. We're going to share the love for John Saunders, the original voice of the Toronto Raptors. Of course, John Saunders was on City TV for the Raptors, broadcasting as a play-by-play and also in studio. He is one of the legends of sports broadcasting, and that is no joke. That is not lip service. That is a very, very real, true thing that John Saunders was somebody I knew about before I knew about his connection with the Raptors. Of course, John, born in Toronto, Canadian, very proud Canadian his whole entire life, started in the trenches in Ontario, working in sports journalism and different channels. He worked in North Bay. He worked all the way out in the Maritimes. He worked all over the place until he ended up on City TV in the early 80s, being the main sports anchor for that channel in the early 80s. And then he ventured to the States. And in the mid 80s, he worked in Baltimore. And then he got picked up by ESPN at the very beginning. In fact, John Saunders was one of the original anchors for that great network when it was great way back. Not anymore. The network's gone down the tubes just recently, even more so. But when ESPN was fantastic and great, John Saunders was one of the first people that got the privilege to sit behind that desk and tell everybody the news. John Saunders has hosted the ABC Worldwide of Sports. This man has done it all in broadcasting. In fact, my first memories of John Saunders are from college football. Growing up in Tallahassee, being a Florida State fan, and watching a lot of college football when I was younger, John Saunders was often the anchor or the person opening the game and talking about it. So he's very well known to American audiences, not just Canadian audiences up here for his Raptors work, but very well known nationwide across the United States. And he was a bona fide legend. People loved him. People loved his delivery. He was so smooth. He was so professional. Just amazing. Leo Routens loves John Saunders so much. They worked together early on in the Raptors days. And there's a story because John had diabetes. And it was something that he had to really manage, like all people with diabetes do, watch his blood sugar. Well, there was one game where he needed to get something in his system before the game because he was feeling low blood sugar, and he rushed off to get something to eat, and he just barely made it back to make the broadcast. And Leo tells the story is like this dude just slid into the seat and it was like, Q, you're on. And it wasn't like he had gone anywhere. And you couldn't tell that the dude had just ran off, ate something, scarfed it down and came back. And he was back on the air like that. That's the kind of legend he was. But yeah, John dealt with a couple of demons behind the scenes. He did deal with depression. And that, something like DeMar DeRozan's work with Above the Noise and his speaking out is something that, in some ways could have helped John earlier in his life if there had been more talk about mental health and depression with men. And in some ways, John Saunders also had his ups and downs with his health issues also. Sadly, John passed very young at 61. And it's very sad in some ways. He died very suddenly in 2016 in his home in New York. And it was found that he did have cancer afterwards. They did find out that he had some cancer inside and that there was some other issues that he had going on with his life at that time. But yeah, John Saunders is a Raptors legend, guys. In some ways, if you remember John Saunders calling a Raptors game, you are an original. You're from the very start of our franchise. You're from the very beginning. Yeah, it was cool. And the thing about it was John was already big time when the Raptors said, "Hey, would you come and be our announcer for the beginning?" And he could have said no. I mean, he had really good gigs already. I mean, he is an ESPN Sports Center anchor. He was all over college football, calling the Fiesta Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and the big, huge bowls around New Year's. He didn't have to come back here to his home country and cover the Raptors in the very beginning, but he did. And he was very, very excited about it. He was very happy to come home and do these games. And honestly, it's been said that John Saunders wanted to be the longtime voice of the Toronto Raptors for a long, long time. And in fact, he was extremely disappointed when his time covering the Raptors ended when City TV stopped having rights to cover the games. That was really who employed him and put him on covering the Raptors games was Moses Zeidner and City TV when the Raptors games were being broadcast on the new VR and City TV down in the city. So it's kind of sucks. That was very disappointing to him because he was in for the long haul. He wanted to be the voice of the Raptors for a long, long time as the announcer, but because of TV contracts and changes, well, TSN and Rogers took over the broadcasting, and City was out. And as such, John Saunders was also. But yeah, he was always very proud of his being Canadian, and he would talk about it on the air down south even. And he wasn't ashamed of it. He was not secretly Canadian, much like Paul Jones's brother Mark. But there's a lot of cool things about John Saunders. He's just so smooth, such a smooth delivery, such a really well thought out, really, really, really professional broadcaster. In some ways, it's not that he had the knowledge of the sports, but he had the very good, crisp, clear call. And he was very, very good at what he did. And that's why I want to salute and share the love for John Saunders, the original voice of the Raptors broadcast from the very, very beginning. In fact, they talk about him in the Prehistoric book by Alex Wong and his impact and his importance. And like I said, this guy didn't have to come and cover the Raptors. He was established. He was already at the pinnacle of his industry. And coming back and doing the Raptors, in some cases, some people would look at that as like, wow, what a step down for him, especially since the Raptors were who they were at that time. A novelty, a brand new expansion team, a team that really didn't have any respect. And in some ways, it speaks a lot to who the person John Saunders was, that he did come up and cover us for like 6 years. He was involved in our team for the first 6 years of its franchise. So, yeah, we salute you, John. All the best to your family, Wanda, and your kids. And, we miss you still. I know that people in the broadcasting field of the Raptors who were around from way back then, like Eric Smith and Paul Jones, Leo Routens, Rod Black. Happy birthday, Rod Black, by the way. It is Rod Black's birthday. Really have so many good things to say about John Saunders and who he was as a man and also as a colleague. And man, you can just tell by the way he carried himself that he was just a good dude, and he just had a really, really, really great persona. And people love being around him. In some ways, some people joked about partying with him on the road. Like Leo talks a little bit about him and John Saunders on the road and how much fun they had. It's in Prehistoric book, but yeah, they were wild men on the road in the 90s, Leo and John. So yeah, salute to you, John Saunders. And if you guys in the chat have any great memories of the original voice of the Toronto Raptors, John Saunders, that we are honoring today, since it's our 30th anniversary season, we got to go all the way back to the beginning, and we got to talk about a guy who was there at the very beginning, and that is Mr. Saunders. Yeah, so any memories of John Saunders that you guys have, go ahead and put them in the comments. We're sharing the love for a Raptors original, John Saunders. Rest in peace. We love you, man. Wherever you are, you're looking down on the Raptors or looking down on Canada and Toronto, your hometown. And I hope you're just good vibes and good energy out there. That's right. Let's see what's up. Andrew's saying, good morning, everyone. 8 days until Raptors basketball. Let's go. Yeah, this is fantastic. And some people are saying that this Vince Carter jersey retirement and the purple jerseys and all this stuff is a distraction from the team this year because they may be bad. Well, I'm going to say this right now. The team playing is a distraction from that bullshit that's going on with Vince Carter and the purple jerseys. For me personally, the players that are on the Raptors currently, those people are my distraction from all this circus bullshit that's going on right now with Vince and this absolute horse crap bullshit that's going on right now. So I cannot wait for these games to start, Andrew, because I want to focus on basketball. I don't care if they win or lose. I want to focus on basketball, and I'm sick of this shit. Yesterday was a farce. That shit that went down at Dixon Court yesterday was an absolute joke. In fact, all right, let me just start this. I'm going to say this right now. I started watching that yesterday with open-mindedness to say, let's heal the wounds with Vince. I'm ready. Let's hear some things from him that could go a long way. And I was all ready to forgive him. But boy, did I get the exact opposite of what we needed. I really, really did. In fact, he just doubled down on more bullshit. Honestly, did you guys watch it? If y'all did not watch the ceremony that went down at Dixon Court yesterday with all the people talking, the dignitaries and the different people that came up, I'm going to break it down right now because I watched it all. And I heard it. I listened with my ears, Vince. I heard what you said. First of all, I have a question. Since you are on television, you're a media person. How the fuck are you such a horrible public speaker? Like, seriously. Like, how are you such a rambling, ambling? I don't know. I can't keep a clear sentence. I can't speak and look anybody in the face, first of all. That's another thing. That's a telltale sign. Vince couldn't look at anybody in the face because he knows he's a fraud and a full of shit, piece of shit motherfucker. Because seriously, the guy got up there and, most people that come to a ceremony like this, they dress nice, Vince. They don't dress like a bum and show up with a hat backwards in a fucking leisure suit. I mean, look at what Paul Jones was wearing when he showed up. He's wearing a nice, perfect, beautiful blue suit. That's the way you should have fucking dressed to show some respect. And then the fact that you were completely unprepared with any kind of speech or any kind of way to say anything, you're just rambling off the top of your head, shows just how much regard you have for the honor that's coming towards you. Seriously, I'm disgusted with what happened yesterday. Not only did he not come in like he cares or gives a shit. I mean, sure, okay, he showed up. People say, oh, he showed up. He's here. That's enough. Bullshit. You show some respect. Wear a suit. Other people would show the reverence of a ceremony like that. It means something. They'd show up with dignity and show up dressed for the occasion. They would also show up prepared with a speech and maybe having a couple things to say. Well, what was your talking points yesterday, Vince? Your talking points were basically this kind of bullshit. All right, I don't even know where to start. I have a laundry list of bullshit that he said. First of all, Vince talked twice. And he was like, I didn't know I had to speak twice. Well, you arrogant bastard. You didn't have to speak after Mariah Amber. You just ran up there and grabbed the mic. You're supposed to wait until after Masai fucking tells you you're going up in the Raptors, you dumbass. That's why you had to speak twice. And afterwards, you're like, I don't understand why I had to speak twice. You dumbass. Because your ego forced you to run out there and grab the mic early, you dumb fuck. You don't even fucking understand. He's so stupid. I've realized that Vince is a himbo, that he is absolutely a dumbass. And in some ways, the thing that's so sad to me about him is he has no personal growth as a person. He played 22 years in the fucking NBA, and he still hasn't fucking come to any conclusions outside of his own egotistical brain about his place and his legacy in this league. He really has no clue. He's so fucking clueless. He's so wrapped up his own ass that he has no fucking realistic view of the world. I mean, I can look at other people that have been in the Raptors history. You could look at Tracy McGrady. He's smart enough to figure out some things and understand and be wise. You could look at an extremely introspective person that DeMar DeRozan is. He figured out this shit early in his career, and Vince has still not figured out this shit 4 years after he's retired. That's so fucking lame. And then even Chris Bosh. I don't like Chris Bosh. I think Chris Bosh is an idiot, and he sold us out too, but he fucking understands it better than Vince does, even if he's not come correct to Raptors. You're a himbo, Vince. You're an idiot. You're really stupid, honestly, is what I've come to the conclusion of, because you are just one of these arrogant assholes who has no outward sense of things. It may be that you live in a world with your family and friends that's just yes people for you. Oh, Vince, you're so amazing. You've been so amazing this whole time. Nobody fucking came to you correctly and told you just who the fuck you are and what a fraud you are. Seriously. In some ways, if you had had a father figure in your life that came to you and say, son, I'm disappointed in you. You gave up on the Raptors. You quit, and that only looks bad on you. You needed that figure. You didn't need a nurturing mother to say, Vince, you're perfect. Whatever you do is great. No, you needed that Frank DeRozan that's come out there and say, listen, son, you are fucking up your life and your legacy because you're being a little shit. You know, you needed that, Vince, because there's nobody who's ever checked you like this, like Frank checked DeMar. Yeah, nobody's ever checked you for this. And in some ways, it showed yesterday that I don't understand. Listen, you spent your whole speech doing two things. Putting down Canada, first of all. He comes in and he said, Alvin, we got to remember that up here, they didn't have the blessings of us, that we had basketball courts everywhere. Motherfucker, there were basketball courts in Canada before you showed up here. He's trying to say that we were a neglected country that didn't have basketball courts until he showed up and did the Vince Carter effect. Bullshit. We had basketball courts, you dumbass. Talking like we were some sort of third world country that didn't have fucking basketball courts. What is that in your fucking speech? And then he's saying shit like every little other sentence is a humble brag for himself. He's like, oh, this opportunity afforded because I'm going to the Hall of Fame, guys. And that's why we got to do this. And he says this happened organically. Organically, my ass. The Raptors were forced to retire your jersey because the Brooklyn Nets and probably the NBA and other bullshit forces out there were like, yeah, you need to do this. Now, I love what Masai said, and I agree with him. In some ways, we need to let things heal. And you know what? I have to accept this, but I will go off on it. I will talk about it like I am right now and fucking call him on his shit because somebody needs to do it. Somebody needs to do it. Masai, I believe in you. And I love you, Masai. And you say he created the path to where we got. Then you know what? He's right. He fucking left us in the fucking gutter, fucking stabbed and bleeding to death on the ground when he went to New Jersey. And yeah, he created the path that got us to the championship from the very bottom. He put us at the very fucking bottom for us to build this team back up through the likes of Lowry and DeRozan and to get that championship. So sure, Masai is exactly right that Vince Carter set us up for our path to the championship by decimating us and putting us in the fucking gutter. That's how he did it. So it's like, okay, yeah, we can thank him for that, for fucking shitting all over us and treating us like crap afterwards. And then fucking we had to rise up and get our championship and our respect regardless. He disrespected our team right to our faces at a ceremony to announce that we're retiring his jersey. Seriously. He said shit like this. He said, like, enjoy the moment. You know what that sounded like to me? He's like, I get it. Some people don't like me. Some people do like me. All this kind of shit. But enjoy the moment is what he said. That shit sounds just like Kawhi Leonard at the championship parade when he said, enjoy it while you can, Raptors fans. Yeah, it's the same fucking action. Same kind of person, Leonard and Carter. Motherfuckers who look down on Canada, think that Canada is subservient to fucking United States, and they do not look at us as equals, and they look at us as a little fucking farmland for fucking taking players from. In some ways, Vince actually said to our current players who are sitting on the fucking sideline of the court, hey, y'all, I'm here for y'all. If y'all ever need me, I'm here for you guys. And if you need to go to another team, I'll help you. He literally fucking said to the current Raptors team, if you want to leave the Raptors, I'm going to help you get out of here. You didn't hear that? He said that shit during his acceptance speech for the Raptors. How much disrespect do we have inside our own fucking community and our franchise to let this fuck be our first fucking jersey retired in our fucking arena? That motherfucker showed up and told RJ Barrett, Jamias Ramsey, Bruno Fernando, Brady Dick, you want to leave the Raptors? I'll help you get out of here. That's so fucked up. Didn't you not hear him say that? I'll help you guys if you want to go to other team. He literally said that in his own fucking Raptors Hall of Fame announcement ceremony at Dixon Court yesterday. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. And he's like, I never thought this would happen. Yeah, you probably didn't because you know we hate your ass and because you haven't come correct with an apology ever. You could have had it. You know what? You had the perfect opportunity yesterday. You didn't even have to do it in the arena. You could have done it in the small court out there, and enough of the real ones like me that are watching would have heard you, and we would have smoothed things over better. But your fucking ego won't allow you to admit or be accountable for your own actions. And people like you do not deserve being honored. People like you are fuck faces and the worst role models in the fucking world. When they cannot understand what they did wrong and they cannot come correct and apologize. If you're one of these people like W. Bush that says, I just don't apologize for anything. Well, fuck you, Vince Carter. Because if you're bigger than I can apologize to the Canadians, they're below me. Because that's the way you're fucking coming off right now, you piece of shit. Seriously, you think the Raptors freakers are going to get up this morning and start talking about, oh, I love Vince Carter. He's so amazing. He's so good. Fuck that piece of shit, motherfucker. Dirtying up my fucking city yesterday with his purple 15 all over the fucking arena, fucking places around the city. Fuck that shit. And I love you, Paul Jones. I love you, Masai. I love you, Nabatia. But don't fucking kiss his ass and tell us that we need to kiss his ass with you. Because, listen, you can be like, oh, Nab's like, I was so close to Vince, and I love him and his mom so much. I'm so happy this is happening now. We need to forget. Fuck you, Nav, for that bullshit, bringing DR DeRozan into the game and telling us we shouldn't be mad at Nick Nurse. Fuck you, Nav, for your goodwill, everything. Oh, no, this is why we're soft. This is why our fucking fan nation is soft and why the rest of the league laughs at us. Because we don't fucking stand up for ourselves and have some self-respect. And we don't have any self-respect in this jersey retirement for Vince Carter. And everybody around the league knows the story, and they know that he hasn't come correct in any kind of way, and we look pathetic for it. In some ways, I'm ashamed to be a Raptors fan today because of what happened yesterday. I'm ashamed that Vince Carter can do what he did to us, and still 25 years later, he can fucking crap all over us to our face while we're honoring him. I am ashamed. In some ways, I'm telling you, Masai, I'm serious. I'm not coming to games this year. I'm not coming to a single damn game in the 30th anniversary because y'all just chose to honor a fucking fraud, a fucking horrible fucking fraud, the worst fucking kind of role model you can fucking have. And I'm not coming. I'm not coming down to the games a single damn game this year. I'll come back next year and I'll cover the hell out of the games this season. But I'm not coming down to spend a single damn cent of my money on a fucking ticket. That's what I've decided about this. Because this has gone too far. This is bullshit. Vince, if you could just fucking get over yourself for 1 minute and say, I was wrong for quitting on this team, you would be fine. But you do not have the capability to do this. It's obvious. And you're going to just stay a not totally formed person for the rest of your fucking life. Because obviously you do not have the capability to get outside your own damn ego, your own damn smugness, and see the fucking reality of the situation that you caused a long time ago. I don't give a shit what the reason why people think, oh, this is why Vince left. He did what he did, and he had control over what he did. And in some ways, he needed to come and at least smooth a little bit of this over. And you had the perfect opportunity yesterday, and you didn't take it. You didn't take it. Alvin Williams gets up there. One of my favorite Raptors of all time. I have all the love and respect for Boogie Williams, current broadcaster for us, a real one, a beloved Raptor. I'd be way more happier if that 20 was behind me, was up in the rafters instead of that 15. He gets up there and he tells a story about him and Vince being on a team together and how in a game against the Clippers, he waved Vince off. He was supposed to throw a lob play to him, but he didn't. He took it himself, and he was selfish. Alvin was young. Alvin was trying to make something for himself, and he made a big mistake. And they lost the game. And he said that Vince came up to him and said, that's okay, we'll get him next time. And he wasn't mad at him. Alvin was fully expecting Vince to go off on him and get mad at him for waving him off and busting the play that Lenny Wilkins called. No, Vince was like, no, it's okay, we'll get him next time. That casual piece of shit. I wish you were mad at Alvin. That story doesn't help anything, Boogie, because it shows me that Vince was so fucking casual, he didn't give a shit that you didn't fucking do what you were supposed to do. If that was Kobe or Michael, they would have cussed you out, Alvin Williams. And that's a difference between Vince Carter and those two guys I just named. That if you fucking had disregarded the call of the play by the coach and you waved off the franchise player, he would have fucking reamed you out afterwards if he was actually somebody who gave a shit about competing. That's a big tell right there. Alvin, you may have been trying to tell a story that shows how benevolent and kind Vince is. No, that just shows how passive and weak and sorry ass he is to me. That if he was a real one, he would have fucking bit your head off, Alvin. He would have fucking bit your head off for that cardinal sin of not going the play the coach asked for and doing it the way he wanted it. Yeah, there's more. I can go off on this. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Chris Boucher. And thank you, Garrett Temple, for not showing up at this farce of a fucking thing that happened yesterday. I feel bad for all the young Raptors that were there. Of course, our Canadian guys, Kelly and RJ. Of course, our young two-ways and also our rookies, our Exhibit 10 guys like Jamison Battle and Dylan Dissou and Kennedy Chandler. They're all there. They were all there seeing this. And listen, don't listen to that fuckface Vince or anything he said to y'all. And seriously, do not take up his offer to listen to him or give mentorship from him. Fuck him. And Masai, you better tell those players not to talk to him either, because you know what Vince's going to do? He's going to say, hey, Grady, you know, Toronto's great, but you should be fucking on Milwaukee instead. You should go down the States. You should be on an American team. No, we don't need your mentorship, Vince. You could fuck off, is what I would say right here. I don't want you anywhere near the young Raptors talking to them. Rich Shamshay, come talk to me, man. Yeah, why did you get drafted up here? You need to be on another team. That's all I think he's saying when he says to them. I don't need fucking Vince Carter around the young Raptors giving them advice. Who the fuck wants advice from a quitting piece of shit like him? So, yeah, stay away from our Raptors. How about that, Vince? You get your kudos begrudgingly from us, and you can fuck off and go off in the sunset. And hopefully I'll never have to fucking see you again around the Raptors ever again after this year. Seriously. And in some ways, you know what? Also, Vince is like, oh, now I'm going to get what I want, and I'm going to be over all the fans. See, he's thinking in ways that y'all don't even understand. And you look at it, in some ways, it's a dominance thing. In some ways, yeah, we booed him for years, and he's hurt by it. You can tell he's really hurt by it. That's why he got so emotional at the thing. Oh, wince with his wincing and you know, he got emotional because he felt like he's getting love from Toronto finally after all the years of booing. Yeah, fuck that. That you know, whatever young crowd that was out there at Dixon Court yesterday, that's not the real Raptors fans. That's not the real meat of it. We're the real meat of it. People like me. And you know what? That shit is still there, Vince. You're going to still see it. In fact, he started talking about social media. He's like, back then, social media didn't exist. Oh, my God. And then they invented it. And then your fucking sorry ass was exposed. In some ways, yeah, it's real easy not to hear the noise when there's no social media. Now there is. And now you're hearing the noise, aren't you, Vince? You're hearing the noise from the comment sections. You're hearing the noise from journalists like Josh Lewenberg that you could have ignored back then and been in your own little bubble and not hear all the bullshit, all the negative stuff that's being said about you with your sorry ass quitting and forcing your way out of the Toronto Raptors. No, you didn't have to hear it then because Facebook didn't exist that year. But boy, did it come out 3 years later. And damn, if it had just come out a little bit earlier, Mike Zuckerberg, motherfucker, why didn't you put it out earlier so I could roast him on social media when it happened? Yeah, you found out. In some ways, you learned about legacies. The audacity of you to step up there and tell the young Raptors about legacies. Motherfucker, your legacy is quitting. Your legacy is an exhibition dunk competition and nothing with anything of purpose on the fucking actual 94 feet of an NBA court. Yeah, you want to talk about legacy? Don't fucking talk to RJ Barrett about a legacy. That motherfucker understands what a legacy is and that he's making a legacy for himself with Team Canada and the Raptors in his career. You don't need to talk about nobody with legacy. Sure, we can talk about the Carter effect. As Masai said, it is real. It is real. It is real. But once again, the person who's in the middle of it has so many fucking flaws. He is not a role model. You know what? In the Paul Jones's story about him talking to him right before he does the dunk competition, another one that shows just how nonchalant and unprepared and coasting on talent Vince Carter is. He comes up to him, and Jonesy's interviewing him right before. And he said, I don't know if I'm going to do it, Jonesy. I don't know if I'm going to do it. And then he goes out and he does what he does. That shows exactly, once again, that the dude is just coasting on his talent. The dude was an amazing leaper, a natural dunker. And that was what he was. He wasn't a skilled NBA player in the ways that he should have been for his athleticism and his talent. If he had worked like DeMar DeRozan, this man would be in the top 25 of scoring in the NBA history. But no, he's a lazy ass who coasted on his leaping ability And in some ways, he could have been so much more if he was more like Mike, is what I'm saying right now. So, yeah, man, it's such a farce what happened yesterday. And I almost wish you hadn't done all that, Masai, because it just made me hate this whole much more. Whole much more. Actually, hearing Vince talk. Now, he did say, I'll come more prepared when we do it. Yeah, you better fucking write a better speech, motherfucker. That's what I'm going to say right now. You have one more chance. But listen, I'm not expecting you to, because after all these decades, after this time, you have not figured this out yet. That just shows a character defect in your fucking brain that you can't get outside your own ass to be able to see yourself. And that's it. That's it right there. I mean, I want to talk about this some more, and I will. But man, that's exactly how I feel about yesterday. I love Olivia Chow. She was hilarious out there in her Fred VanVleet 23, wearing her Chow jersey. And yeah, she was awesome. You know, it was I loved hearing from Masai. I love hearing from Masai when I hear him. Kelly Olynyk talking about being at Vince Carter's camps. That's fantastic. Alvin Williams, a story about the Raptors. But once again, Vince, how the fuck are you on TV when you're rambling, ambling, don't make no sense, can't stay on topic, public speaker? Like you half-assed your fucking acceptance of your Hall of Fame jersey. You half-assed your acceptance of being your jersey retired as a Raptor. In some ways, it just shows how casual and unprofessional and how really like you don't give a fuck. You really don't. Yeah, I don't know how you managed to insult our team, put down our things, and even invite our players to go to another team, all within your Hall of Fame, your jersey retirement acceptance speech. He even said after the ceremony to the press, "I'm so looking forward to having my jersey up in the rafters next to Dr. J." You're in the wrong fucking city to be saying that, Vince. Oh my gosh. This guy, he's an egomaniac. In some ways, he does not deserve this. In some ways, I'm going to disregard that he is the first Raptors retired jersey. I'm going to say it's whoever comes next. And I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to act like this shit never happened this year. And it's my right. It's my right. If I want to say, yeah, Vince Carter's jersey never was retired in my mind, fuck that guy. That's my right. And in some ways, I just don't want to see his ugly ass, dumbass face on our rafters, on a banner above us. It's like he said, now I'm going to be above all y'all. He likes that. He likes that. In some ways, that's part of the game for him. That he's an op to Toronto and the Raptors. And now he's managed to fucking be above us as a banner over our heads in our own fucking arena forever. And that just disgusts me. Do you understand what I just said? He's an op. And now he's going to get an honor that's going to be forever above us. Yeah, that's fucked. I fucking ignore it. I don't credit it. And in some ways, I will never, ever get behind it as a real Raptor fan, a true blue Raptor fan, somebody who's really for this team. And I know that this is unhealthy. I know this is not good for our self-respect. I know that this is not good for our place in the league. In some ways, what the fuck is this message for Scotty Barnes? Seriously. You can fucking shit all over our franchise. Still going to turn around and honor you at the end of your career like this. What kind of fucking message is this? If we had any self-respect for ourselves, we would not be retiring Vince Carter's jersey in our franchise. We would not be. That's just the pure and simple of it right there. Yeah, Trevor's saying, good morning, family. Just breathe. You are strong enough to handle your challenges, wise enough to find a solution to your problem, and capable enough to do whatever needs to be done. That's right. In some ways, this challenge, I'm going to do what I can do, and that's boycott the fucking team for the year. I'll watch the games. I'll cover everything. I'll do everything normal on this channel, but I am not going down to Scotiabank Arena this season, and I will not purchase any tickets. And I usually go to about 10 games a year, Raptors, just so you know. And I'm not going to buy any new gear. I'm not going to buy any of this purple shit that y'all are putting out this year. And we can go back to regular business next year, and I'll just forget the 30th anniversary season of all the bullshit that's happened this year. If I somehow, some way find myself at a game, it may be because Vince finally came correct on November the 2nd, and he did finally the right thing in his fucking speech for when the jersey actually goes up. That's your last chance, Vince. Otherwise, you're going to lose everybody like me forever, because that's your very fucking last chance. And in some ways, you could have taken the easy route and done it yesterday, and you wouldn't even had to done it at the ceremony. You could have fixed things yesterday if you'd just been honest with us and honest with yourself and owned up to your part in what happened. But you have blinders to it. In some ways, you and your mind are perfect, and you don't do anything wrong. And that just shows your character defects as a person. And that's too bad. That's too bad that you don't have enough self-awareness to understand exactly what you fucking did. Yeah. In some ways, DeMar DeRozan is on the other end of the spectrum from you. DeMar DeRozan's a very, very introspective, conscious young man who knows what he knows this. He understands this. And the audacity of you giving lessons to our young Raptors players about legacy and thinking about your legacy. Yeah, you're a joke. In some ways, your legacy is you're a fucking quitter. Your legacy is that you fucking forced your way out of Toronto in a trade and you want us to kiss your ass now? Yeah, I'm better than that. I have more respect for myself than to do that. Maybe Nab Bhatia doesn't, but I do. I have more respect for myself than to kiss your ass now after all you've put our franchise through. So, yeah, and this isn't new and this isn't old. He still talks in his interview, in his speech yesterday, like Canada is separate from him and USA. You can tell these kind of people because of the way they talk. I grew up among them in Florida. I know this kind of American persona and mentality that everything is second to USA and you're all below us. And that is really how he feels. I'm telling you, he does not have the love for Canada in an equal parallel way like Scotty does. He doesn't have the love for Canada, even though he got hurt really, really badly, like DeMar DeRozan. No, Vince looks down on Canada. And he doesn't have respect for our country or our city because of the way he treated us. And he has not come around and apologized in the end at this point. Some people say, you need to get over it, Lex. This is a long time ago. No, fuck that shit. Seriously. Fuck that shit. And maybe it's just part of my personality that's like this. But maybe, you know what? You guys can be all this like Nab Bhatia if you want to, but not me. Nah. I'll hold out. I'm a real one. And I'm going to keep being like this until, I'm okay, open to Vince apologizing. I'm open to him admitting his mistake at least. He doesn't even have to apologize. If he could just say, yeah, I made some mistakes. I shouldn't have done this. I really messed up and stuff like that. That would go a long way. But no, instead, he's intermixing humble brags about himself. Oh, my kid won his championship in basketball. Oh, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. I'm this, I'm that. I'm the great this, I'm this. And fucking then also sprinkling a little bit of like, obtuse putting down Canada in the middle of it. He even said during his ceremony yesterday where Masai announces he's going to get his jersey retired that nobody wants to come to Canada. He said that once again during his speech. Go back and watch it. You can hear him actually say that. Nobody likes coming to Canada. And he kind of looked over at our players. Fuck you, Vince. You are one of those Chris Bouchard pieces of shit. Even though you came out against Chris Bouchard, yeah, that was all lip service. On the download, the way you are and the way you act, it tells that you have the mentality of Chris Bouchard. And fuck you, Vince, for taking the time to come over to Canada and get all this applause and things that happened yesterday. You had an opportunity that you squandered once again. And it's too bad. You're in your own feelings. You're sad. You're wincing. You're all uncomfortable. Well, if you know what? When DeMar DeRozan, when Kyle Lowry come to Toronto and get the same process coming, they'll be able to look us all in the face. They'll be able to see everybody and get the adoration, a 100% adoration from the crowd. You're going to get it half-assed, just like you half-assed your last part of your career with the Raptors. You're going to get it half-assed, and rightfully so, because that's and you'll see the difference. When your friend Kyle gets his jersey retired, it's going to be unanimous. Everybody's going to shower him with love, and it's going to be pure. It's going to be real. It's going to be true. But you're going to have to settle for this half-ass shit. Half man, half amazing, half ass. That's what you get, motherfucker. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, a little mic drop this morning. There, yeah, there you go. There you go. I'll go off more on this if y'all want to. I have more gems to talk about with this. But if you heard everything I just said, yeah, go watch it. You'll hear Vince say nobody wants to play in Canada. If any of y'all want to leave the Raptors, I'll help you. And, I'm so happy I came to Canada and helped them build basketball courts because they didn't have them before. They were such a poor country. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Vince? Trevor's saying Karl Anthony Towns traded to New York for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. They broke up the Villanova band. Yeah, I'm hearing rumblings. Somebody's trying to say that Dante didn't really like the Villanova thing. In some ways, he's the least important Villanova guy. Like, seriously, he's the least important one. I mean, it is what it is. Who cares? The interesting thing is Cat on New York and Randall going to Minnesota. I mean, I think that this is a bad deal for Minnesota. This could work out really, really well for the Knicks. I mean, they are filling that hole now with that center. Milbester's probably smiling real big today. But I would say this could go a couple of ways. The Knicks are not the team they were last year now for sure. This is a very different team than the one that got the playoffs and played against Philly in the playoffs last year. No, this is not the same team at all. And there's no guarantees that the chemistry and that this team's going to work. And that's the thing. Cat's a weird player, man. Anthony Edwards is very happy about this trade. That says a lot right there. Anthony Edwards saying, I'm glad Cat got traded. Ooh, that's weird. Why is he saying that? Interesting. I don't know. Mikal Bridges, Carl Anthony Towns added to the Knicks. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Warren Weisfeld thinks that they are going to be the champions because of this. He thinks that this is the move that's going to put them with the Larry O'Brien. And it could very well be true, but we have to see it in practice. We have to see it if it actually is true and real. That the Knicks are a lot better with Cat as a center. I don't know if that's for sure. In some ways, chemistry and things fitting are more important to today's NBA than just stacking very talented players all together. And in some ways, the Knicks found something that was working last year, but there's no guarantees this shit's going to work either. So we'll have to see. It's very interesting, though, and it's a big move. Very, very close to the season. And apparently, Anthony Towns was completely blindsided by it. He had no idea that the Timberwolves would trade him. In some ways, it's good for you. Listen, Carl, you could be blindsided, maybe a little upset, a little hurt because of what happened yesterday. But you know what? This is probably an upgrade for you, honestly. I mean, I like that Timberwolves team and going up. And in some ways, you're idiots, Timberwolves. You traded the wrong center. You should have traded Gobert. I don't care about the defensive stuff. He's honestly a fraud. And the better player was Anthony Towns. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Randall in Minnesota is a weird fit. I knew Randall was going to get traded. We called this like last week that Randall's going to get traded any moment. Well, it happened. He finally got traded now. It's going to be very interesting. I can't call anything yet because we have to see how the Knicks work and whether this nucleus will gel and go well together. There's no guarantees. And as far as Minnesota, in some ways, I think that this is a downgrade for them because Karl Anthony Towns as a three-point shooting big is very powerful in some ways. And in some ways, he was one of the most interesting pieces on that team with Anthony Edwards. And I don't know. This is a weird trade. I don't think that Minnesota won it, though. I'm going to say that right now. Yeah. Nako's here. Good to see Nako the Nacho. I'm going to do real good in fantasy this year, Lex. I'll get to the email later today. Knicks probably had the best offseason. Rest in peace, Nova Knicks. Not even a game. No, that's not rest in peace. It's just switch one out and put one in. Mikal Bridges will take Dante Vincenzo's place. And there will still be, 3 or 4 Villanova Wildcats. There's Brunson, Hart, Bridges. Is there another one? It was DiVincenzo, but he's gone now. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say rest in peace to it. I mean, the Villanova Wildcats of the Knicks are still 3 of them there. So you're going to do real good, Gerald. You better, because you're one of the teams I was thinking about relegating because you did not perform or take care of your team last year. But I wanted to give you a chance to come back. So you take that invite, but you better come correct, is what I'm saying right now. That's right, y'all. We're playing fantasy basketball again this season. And if you want to be a part of our league, it's very limited spots. I'm trying to see which teams are not going to come back out of the 20 and how many spots will be open before I invite new people to join the league. So right now, if you were in the league last year and you're listening to me right now, you better check your email or at least tell me that you want to play again this year. Because if you don't, I'm going to give your spot to somebody else. So either answer your email or tell me on the stream that you want to renew your team. Because I'm not auto-renewing the league. In fact, there's a lot of deadbeat teams from last year that did not manage their team correctly, and I'm ready to put new people in those spots. Yeah, there you go. So, Nako, you better be serious this year. That's all I'm saying right there. Trevor's saying Anthony Edwards said he's glad Towns got traded to New York. That management made a smart move. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's a good thing in some ways. I mean, if the franchise player, Anthony Edwards, is enjoying the move and says that it's good, he signs off on it. Well, maybe he in some ways was the person in the background kind of saying, you know what? I wouldn't be upset if this happened. We'll have to see. In some ways, Randall will be a good teammate for Edwards, I think. In some ways, he may be a good mentor for Anthony Edwards. Nako saying, I think Randall has less pressure in Minnesota. T-Wolves forward depth wasn't great in my opinion. Well, they had the Twin Towers. And yeah, you're probably right. This is a little bit more balanced for the Timberwolves. It really was the Twin Towers and Anthony Edwards, and then, Naz Reid and a couple other players around there. I don't know if they got better. I will say that. I don't know if they got better because of this move. I think New York might have, though. I think New York might have. Trevor's saying the WNBA semifinals continue Sunday, best of 5, New York Liberty versus Las Vegas Aces at 3 p.m. And then later on, Connecticut Sun versus Minnesota Lynx in the later game. So, yeah, we're starting the WNBA semifinals tomorrow. Yeah, that'll be fun. Let's go WNBA. Yeah. Yeah, Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex from Raptor Freaks. Dap to you, Cowboy. Bradley dapping in. That sucks that Jacoby sprained his shoulder and will miss some training camp in Montreal. Yeah, this is news that came out yesterday. Jacoby Walter's going to miss training camp. And in fact, he was at the ceremony yesterday in a sling at the Vince Carter court dedication. Yeah, you could see Jacoby very much in a sling at the dedication. All the young players were there to see that farce yesterday. And in some ways, that pisses me off. In some ways, I didn't need the Raptors to be there to see this bullshit. Seriously. And especially don't go near Vince. Seriously, do not talk to him. He is not helpful. Masai, you cannot let Vince Carter, because this is the thing. All right, if it's a healthy relationship, this is what happens in a franchise with retiring a jersey. That person really honors and cares about that franchise. They are so passionate and they are so devoted that they're like, I gave everything to this team and this team gave everything to me and I love it. That's not the relationship Vince has. In some ways, Vince has disdain for our team, and you can tell. And in some ways, we don't need alumni or mentors or Hall of Famers or jersey retired people like him are lurking around our team. It's not helpful. It's toxic. And in some ways, the Celtics, they're going to retire a guy's jersey. He's going to be like a good role model. He's going to show up dressed nice. He's going to come in. He's going to say some very encouraging words. He's going to show pride for the franchise. He's going to talk to the players in a certain way like they're a brotherhood. And in some ways, Vince, once again, playing his NBA brotherhood bullshit, is not playing a Raptors alumni, Raptors franchise brotherhood thing. No, he's playing his fucking NBA I love everybody bullshit like he did when he was a player. And said, this is a fraternity as a family. And I love this family. I've been in this family as a player for 22 years. And I'm still in this family as a broadcaster. Fuck you, Vince. You're not a real one for the Raptors. And in some ways, this is why I did not want to retire his jersey. Because it sends the wrong message that somebody like, what are we going to do? We're going to circle around and get Bosch later down the road? No, fuck that. I don't want to retire Chris Bosch's number 4. We got number 4 for Scotty Barnes. So it's like, what the fuck are our parameters for putting somebody up as a retired jersey? They're horrible. In fact, Josh Lewinberg has recently said, forget about all the noise about whether we like him or not because of how he ended. Let's look at his actual career and say, is this the bar for getting your jersey retired to the Raptors? Is this kind of like what he did on the court statistically as a Raptor is not that good in some ways. It's not anything. It pales in comparison to people like Bosch and DeRozan and Lowry, because in some ways he didn't have any accomplishments as a Raptor, as a player. He won 1 playoff series or something, 2 playoff series. Sorry. He won only 1 playoff series as a Raptor. What is this bar we set with him? That you can fucking piss all over us, shit all over us, and we'll honor you. And in some ways, we don't have any kind of tradition or heritage where it's like we want you to be a mentor or something too, looking for our other guys coming up. No, I don't trust him to do this shit. Why would we trust Vince to be a mentor to our young Raptors? No, stay the fuck away from him, Jamal Shedd. Stay the fuck away from him, Jacoby Walter. You don't need to be talking to him. And that's what I'm saying. You can see. And then another thing is he dissed us on this. He's like, enjoy the moment, Raptors Nation, because you're getting to enjoy something that other franchises get to enjoy every day. And you guys don't get to because you're the other team. You're the Canadian team. You're the team that doesn't have anybody jersey retired. But I'm talking about, other teams every day jersey retired. Bullshit, Vince. People are not jersey retiring every day on other teams. But yeah, the Lakers and the Celtics have a lot of jerseys retired. But this is just you poo-pooing us and putting us down, saying, enjoy it, Raptors fans. Enjoy this moment because my greatness, my career, my Hall of Fame induction is allowing your lowly franchise to enjoy something that other franchises get to do all the time. That's basically what his fucking message was yesterday. Did you not hear him say that? He's like, enjoy it. Enjoy the moment because you guys are not a good enough franchise to have this happen to you regularly like the Celtics. And that's basically what he fucking said yesterday. Really open your ears and listen to the words that he said. And understand, even though he's unprepared, even though he's rambling, even though he's going back and forth and not totally making sense at times, he says some things very clear. He says some things very clear. And in some ways, I'm pissed because we gave him a microphone to fucking say all this shit while we're trying to honor him with the first ever time, the first ever person that's getting this honor in our franchise, and he's going to shit all over us in the middle of his speech while he's getting that honor. That's fucking disgusting. And in some ways, I'm infuriated because of what happened yesterday. This didn't help heal anything. It just showed what a jackass Vince Carter still is and how he has not changed in 20 years. That's all it showed to me yesterday. I mean, seriously. Yeah. It sucks about Jacoby. And seeing him in the sling, yeah, it's annoying. Now, the Vince Carter mentality or Kawhi Leonard mentality would be, oh, Jacoby, you got drafted to the Raptors, but, I know you don't want to be there. So why not, a real good trick to do is just fake an injury for training camp, and you don't have to put in the work or show up. Is this what's going to happen, Walter? Are you going to be that kind of player, that kind of Raptor, or are you going to be like DeMar DeRozan? Because that's something I'm going to be sussing out with you young Raptors coming into our team this year. Is like, who the fuck is like Vince and who the fuck is like DeMar? Because in some ways, you don't want to be like Vince or Kawhi. And, I'm going to sit out training camp. My shoulder hurts. Oh, I'm going to wear a sling to make it look like it. You better be fucking hurt for real. You seriously. I'm sure you are. Hopefully you are. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt until I think otherwise. But I'm just saying, role models from the Raptors past, like the one that's been put in front of you yesterday, he's not a role model. And do not fucking follow his footsteps, is what I would say. Yeah, that's what I would say right there. Yeah. Cowboys saying 8 days left. Let's go. Yeah, let's go watch games and forget about this fucking bullshit. It seriously is. My distraction away from the fucking Vince Carter shit is actually watching the Raptors play. And that's what I'm all about. Yeah, he dissed our players even to their face in some ways, if you really listen to how he addresses them. And you know what? You notice he doesn't address the fans. He never really addresses the fans directly. He likes talking to the players. He likes talking to his friend David from the Embassy of Hope. He likes talking to Alvin, but he never really actually addresses us directly in his speeches yesterday. Fuck you, Vince. We still hate you, and I hope everybody boos your ass on November the 2nd. Yeah, some of them will cheer, but there better be a mix of boos in there also. Yeah, there better be. And so DeMar can see the difference. So you see, DeMar's going to be there on the Kings in the arena watching, and he can see your mixed reaction, mixed reviews. No, I don't think it's that mixed reviews. Some people are for you, and some people are very much against you. And there's no mixed up emotions on this. Yeah, there's one or the other usually on this one. And DeMar can see the difference. He can see how you get retired in front of the Raptors crowd. And when he gets retired, he will see the difference and feel it. And it'll be actually very bona fide for him. It'll be very, very healing for him. In some ways, your heal, you're not getting a full heal. You may be feeling like you're getting a heal from getting these courts refurbished. And this is another point I have to say. Motherfucker did not pay to get his court refurbished. That Dixon court, basketball court, has been languishing for decades and piece of shit court for a long time. In fact, we used it I've talked about that court before. That Vince Carter court out there put down by Embassy of Hope has languished. And it's very symbolic of the Vince Carter Toronto Raptors relationship, how it went deserted and dingy and stuff like that. Well, let's not get it twisted. Vince Carter had nothing to do with us refurbishing that court. It was the MLSC that did it. And they did it to smooth things over. In some ways, Vince gave it away in the fucking speech that he had nothing to do with planning to do that. That he had to thank them. So here we are kissing his ass and making him look good by refurbishing his court that in some ways he promised 20 years ago that he would refurbish himself. He didn't pay shit to fucking fix those courts. Our own team did. And it's partly to make him look good. Like, he didn't fucking fix those courts. He didn't do Embassy of Hope. No. They told him, come up here. We won't have any of the reporters ask you any hard questions. We'll show you a bunch of jerseys around the city. We'll whirl you and Michelle around, and you can have so much fun, and it'll all be nice and cheery. Yeah, and they did that shit to try and make it look like Vince did something nice for the community. He didn't do that shit. Masai and MLSC did those courts, and they're doing it to try and help smooth things over with people like me to be okay with what's happening. I'm not dumb. I can see through this shit. Vince did not initiate fixing that court. You did, Masai. You know you did. And you can try and help him try to look good, but man, the guy is such a fail on the microphone that he can't help but make himself look like an ungrateful piece of shit. Seriously, seriously, like that court would not have gotten fixed unless MLSC would have fixed it. You know, Vince, you could have fixed it after you retired. You could have done it all kinds of stuff. Oh, the time is right now. The time is right now because I'm going in the Hall of Fame, guys. I am so blessed to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't disagree that you are a Hall of Famer. You should be in the Hall of Fame, but you should not have your jersey retired by the Raptors. I still wish, Masai, you'd just given him a statue. Put it outside and not in the arena. We didn't need to honor him inside of our arena. In some ways, that would have been symbolic because what he gave to our country is for the whole country outside. Air Canada put him in the air and put him outside so that, you know, if somebody wants to throw a piece of trash at him, they're allowed to. That's what I would say. Yeah, that may be why you guys didn't do the statue. He was like, yeah, people be coming down here taking a shit and pissing all over it outside the Air Canada Center. Yeah, some people probably would have done that if you put a statue outside. But now you're going to put him up in the rafters over our heads so he can be above us and lord over us and make us all feel like we're not important. Make us all have low self-esteem because we're not good enough, Raptors Nation, to have a culture that stands up for itself and has some pride. And no, you have to honor a fuckface who fucking crapped all over your team and still does to this day, like he did yesterday. So yeah, that's sad. That's sad. In some ways, I'm ashamed to be a Raptors fan right now. In some ways, you're driving the old fans away, Masai, by forcing this retirement on us. In some ways, you're going to find that maybe some of the older Raptors fans are just not going to come back and watch anymore. That you may have had a really bad effect on some things by doing this. Seriously. Sure, the youth is the future and it's growing and they can be dumb and not know the whole truth, but the old heads that do, maybe we're going to just walk off in the sunset and we're not going to be involved with your team as much. I will because I've dedicated myself to do this. But there may be people that are in my age group that are like me that are like, yeah, I'm done with the Raptors at this point. This is like, I don't want to be associated with such a team that has no self-respect for itself. Because this is really what this is at this point. We have no self-respect for ourselves because we're doing this. It's sad. It's pathetic. And I'm so, in some ways, you know what? I have to, once again, understand what I can and can't control. And what I can control is whether I'm going to go to the games or not this year. And that's going to be my protest is I'm not coming to the fucking games this season. And I don't want to buy any purple bullshit that you're putting out to try and get people to buy right now. No, I don't care. 30th anniversary. I'll celebrate on my channel. I'll talk about the team and the plays. But in some ways, I'm going to crap all over Vince Carter all year long and for the rest of my life because this guy just does not have the wherewithal inside his brain to see what from outside, just exactly the whole situation and come clean. Maybe he is just one of these guys like George W. Bush that just believes, hey, you don't have to apologize for anything. I don't apologize to anyone for anything. I'm too proud. I'm too good. Yeah, you know, motherfucker, you're not above reproach. And if you need to apologize for quitting on our team, you should. Because in some ways, I'm not okay with retiring your jersey until you do. And if I didn't hear that yesterday, and you had a perfect opportunity. You had a perfect opportunity. That's right. There you go. Tommy Dookie's here. Good morning. Yeah. Also noticed IQ was wearing a wrist brace on his left hand. Hopefully he and Jacoby heal up. They obviously pushing themselves. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about IQ because they haven't really talked about IQ's thing or at all. And we know that guys have little nagging things here and there. I'm sure IQ's fine. I'm sure he's fine. Common Crazy's here. No swearing Saturday morning all. Yeah, I'm going to swear. Especially after what I saw yesterday, that bullshit. Can you believe he actually told our Raptor players, if you want to leave Toronto, I'll help you. He literally said that. You think I'm full of shit that I'm saying that? No, he said that during the ceremony yesterday. You go back and watch it, and you will see him saying exactly what I said. Cowboy saying, I wonder how Milbester thinks about the Knicks trade. I'm sure he's overjoyed. If I was a Knicks freak, I would be overjoyed about this because this is a really big deal. This is a huge deal. And in some ways, it may very well help them a lot. Bryce is saying, I'm surprised he's not spamming the chat. Milbester, yeah, hopefully he doesn't show up. Hopefully he doesn't show up. We don't need him to show up right now. Yeah. Cowboy's saying, wait for it. And you say, waiting for him to show up. Yikes. That's funny. Isaac's got me with a music note. I love it. Cowboy's saying, Carter's side is what matters, what you wear on the front of your jersey. I know he said that. He's so full of shit when he says that. No, the Toronto part didn't matter to you, Vince. It was all about yourself. It was all about yourself when you went to graduate. It was all about yourself when you got all whiny and wincy about your situation with the Raptors spinning their wheels with their front office. It was going to start getting better if you just chilled out. It's just that you couldn't handle the low point. You freaked out. And then you showed that you really didn't have any allegiance to Toronto or Canada or Raptors because you were so easy to unchain yourself and get going somewhere else. And even if you waffled on whether you want to leave or not, and you change your mind, you still fucking put that shit into motion. And it happened. And in some ways, Rob Babcock, yeah, fuck you, Rob Babcock, you stupid ass, dumbass, one of the worst GMs in the history of the NBA. But still, Vince, none of this shit happens if you're not like causing waves and acting like a little shit behind the scenes with your trade demands. And in some ways, that's it right there. That's it right there. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. Dana's here. Good morning, everyone. I'm back. Dana's back. I'm so happy Canadian Dana's back, and she's just the best at two-finger salutes. So, Dana, please, I don't know where you stand on Vince Carter's retirement. If you want to, please give him a two-finger salute for me right now. I need it. In some ways, after hearing him and his bullshit that he said yesterday, his half-assing of his retirement jersey acceptance, it's just like, what the fuck is this guy? Oh my gosh. Cowboy saying you came back from the dispensary already. She was probably this whole time in the dispensary, Cowboy, for weeks. She just came out just now. She's back. She was really in there for a long time. So I'm saying, so Lex, you're saying you didn't change your mind about Vince? Morning, Dana. And yeah, Vince is full of himself. Guess he's getting his jersey retired. Yeah, I hate this. No, I'm worse. I hate it more now than yesterday. In some ways, it could have gone both ways. In some ways, he could have actually won me over, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm totally fine with what's happening. But now he made it actually even worse. Tommy, you got to watch the ceremony from yesterday. Watch all 40 minutes of it and understand and just listen to Vince and listen to what he's saying. He is so self-absorbed and he has no idea exactly what he's saying and how much damage he's doing still. Yeah. I'm kind of pissed at TSN. Like I seen this segment with this blonde anchor woman, and she says at one point, she's a corporate piece of shit. She might as well be an AI woman. She's talking a lot to Josh Lundberg, and Lundberg's explaining why that he doesn't think that Vince deserves to be retired just on his career, not on the stuff that he did to quit, that he just didn't do enough as a Raptor in the years he was here for winning. And like this, and he's saying like the bar's not high enough for what gets a retired jersey. Forget about the Carter effect. Forget about the way he exited. If you look at the meat and bones of his NBA statistics in his career, it's just not retired jersey worthy in his eyes. And then the lady goes, well, whether Raptors fans like it or not, that Raptors going up, that jersey's going up in the rafters. And she said it all like smug and like a piece of shit, like hockey establishment person. Fuck you, TSN anchor. Two-finger salute for you. Said whether the Raptors fans like it or not, that jersey's going up in the rafters. Well, a lot of us do not like it. Piece of shit bimbo that's on TSN. That's what I say right there, man. Yeah. What's a himbo? Himbo's like a bimbo. It's a male bimbo, a person who's not very intelligent. Like in the 80s shows, there was like the Landers sisters. They were like these blondes with big boobs, and they were like, ooh, and they act really dumb. And like, so that's a bimbo, Tom. And well, the male equivalent of a bimbo is a himbo. And Vince Carter is a himbo. In some ways, he's the stereotypical jock. He's just like a jock, sports. I'm in the sports fraternity. I'm just friends with my sports people. And in some ways, he's that kind of guy that would fucking like bully people that aren't in sports. He's also that kind of guy that kind of like, if you're not an athlete and you're not with us, then I don't have any time for you. I won't listen to you. He's also kind of like dumb. Like a lot of athletes are not the most intelligent people. And honestly, the EQ of Vince Carter is very low. The emotional quotient, the awareness, it is very, very low. Self-awareness is not something Vince Carter has a strong suit in. How about that? That's just the damn truth right there. Yeah, that's what a himbo is, cowboy. There you go. There you go. And there's Masai and Darko. Darko was there. They didn't let Darko speak. Thank God. Don't fucking put Darko in that thing and make him have to speak. Of course, Darko's a nice guy. He's a uniter. Of course, he's going to be there, and he's a part of the team. And the players that are all there, yeah, I feel sorry for you. I know that some of y'all were really felt touched by being there, but what a half-assed little ceremony. And boy, Vince, you are not a dignitary.
And in some ways, guys can go watch it and you'll see. Like some people said, why does he look like he's wearing the clothes I wear to go out and take the trash? Like seriously, if he cared more, why does he have a hat on backwards and he's wearing a leisure suit like he's Tony Soprano sitting on the front porch of the Bada Bing? Like seriously, where's the respect? You should have looked like Paul Jones, Vince, if you really want to come in classy and looking like you took this seriously. And in some ways, you're not a Raptors alumni I want to celebrate or have around our team like there's some sort of person that's a mentor like Tim Duncan is for the Spurs. No, don't get that twisted. No. You think you're going to come in and be like, yeah, we're in the NBA. I want to teach you guys about the league. No, fuck you. We do not need you talking to our young players because you basically just said, if y'all need help to get off the Raptors, I'll help you get out of here. See, he's part of the problem on the inside of the ESPN NBA machine, who really does look down on us and sees us as a secondary team in the NBA. He's never looked at us and he's like, oh, he did mention us winning our championship. And he's like, that was one of the special moments, ever special moments. Yeah, because in some ways, he probably never thought that moment would ever fucking happen because he never wanted it to happen. Seriously. In some ways, he can act like, oh, I was so happy. And in some ways, I want to take this opportunity the first time to congratulate the Raptors for their championship. That shit was over 5 years ago, Vince. And now you're congratulating us publicly for the championship? Motherfucker, you've been on publicly all kinds of places since. You could have done it immediately. Why are you fucking doing it now, 5 years later? Kissing our ass to try and get okay? Is that what it is? That's what it sounds like. That's right. Cool Cat saying you started early. I had a burning desire. I was ready to go. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to start now because I want to get done early. And also, I have a lot to say. I really, really felt like I had a lot to say after seeing that fucking bullshit yesterday at Dixon Court. Seriously, those courts are beautiful. I'll take outside of it. Those courts are beautiful. MLSC did a great job fixing Vince's courts for him and paying for it. I love seeing the city leaders out there and saying this is giving back to the community. And but still, he's like, those kids out there, they could be the next ones and the next ones and the next one. Yeah, whatever. Shut up, Vince. Shut up, Vince. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Fiercey saying, good morning, fam, and happy Saturday. Good morning to you, Fiercey. Click is in the house. Karl Anthony Towns traded to the Knicks. Yeah, that breaking news last night. A very close to the season trade and blockbuster with Cat going to New York. Yeah, it's a big deal, Click. Good to see you back in the chat, my man, Click. Returning, original Raptor Streak. Good morning, Eye Candy from Cowboy. There you go. Nameless is here. Let's see. What bothered me is when Vince said to take pride in the logo and things will work out for the individual. So you're able to reach your goals and list to play somewhere else first. What the fuck, bro? I know you caught that too, Nameless. The other thing he made a espoused on a lot is opportunities. He's like, take your opportunities. Motherfucker. What is that supposed to mean? Take your opportunities to go to other teams and go all over the place and just be a general whore for the NBA and dilute your legacy and your career because you played for so many fucking teams at a subpar level than your athletic greatness could have been, but because you were lazy and you coasted on your talent and you didn't fucking develop your skills right, like DeMar DeRozan, that you fucking became like a half-assed, half man, half amazing, half-assed player for the second half of your career. That's what I say to him right there. I was like, take your opportunities. See, that's what the motherfucker said. He's like, take your opportunities. What were the opportunities, Vince? Cause trouble, demand a trade, get the fuck out. Like, seriously, what are you trying to tell our young players? Nameless, you saw what I seen right there. Yeah. Yo, Click, crazy. Yeah, Click is here. Isaac's like, Click's here. Whoa, this is crazy. Yeah. Fiercely saying, yeah, I can't bring myself to watch that open gym episode. Vince definitely missed the assignment. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They showed that open gym segment yesterday of him in the bus with his family riding to the Princess of Wales gates and taking pictures outside with that jersey. We treated him like the king of the city. And honestly, he doesn't deserve this in any kind of way. So many Raptors fans in the comments on social media, you're my heroes. They're saying, take it down. He doesn't deserve this. Why are we doing this? The people that are standing with me on this side of it like this, you're the real ones, like me. We are real ones. And in some ways, this is the thing. Y'all can say time heals and all this kind of bullshit like that. Well, he hasn't come correct with an apology. Do you want the Native Canadians, the Aboriginals of this country, to just forgive and forget without getting an actual apology and reconciliation? Is that what you're asking? Do you want a rape victim to forgive a rapist without the rapist showing any remorse? Like, seriously, what the fuck is this? Seriously, he did us wrong, and he has not come clean in the correct way since. And you want us to just forgive and forget and time heals all wounds? No, sorry. I have more self-respect for myself. And I understand people like him will burn you again in different ways later on if you allow their toxicness around you still. And I think that's what we found out yesterday. That fucker will come to our players and say, y'all want to get out of Toronto? I'll help you. Like, seriously, what are we doing? What are we doing, Raptors Nation? Why do I have so much low self-esteem all of a sudden today as a Raptors fan? Because Masai Ujiri felt like kissing Vince Carter's ass yesterday. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that episode is disgusting. And in some ways, if you see Vince stuff around or you hear him or you see him, go ahead and boo his ass and let him know that there is a percentage of the Raptors Nation that is not cool with this. And he needs to see it. Vince, you can see the Twitter comments. You can see stuff on Facebook. You can see stuff on Instagram. Yeah, that's the real unfiltered shit. And that is the real voice of the Raptors Nation. It's not this put on shit that we did yesterday for you with Mariah Amber and Four Corners and the Raptor out there yesterday. Nah, that is a farce. That is some shit that, well, we're just going to do window dressing and try and get the old head Raptor fans back with this. No, we're not. I'm not. In some ways, you could have made ground on that, but you failed the assignment, like someone said in the chat. You failed the assignment on trying to mend things, and you just showed self-absorbed egotism and no kind of humility or compliance with kind of like bridging the gap and kind of saying something to us. You know, you don't understand why we booed you so much, and we still do to this day. You do not understand why. Like, are you that thick? Seriously, are you that thick to not understand? Maybe you do. You say, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay if you guys don't like me. It's fine. It's fine. Because you know what, motherfuckers? I'm getting my jersey retired anyway, you bitches who hate me. That's kind of how he's acting right now, y'all. Seriously, that's not a piece of. That's not an olive branch. That's him being like, yeah, I fucking shat all over y'all back then, and I'm going to do it again now, and there's nothing you can do about it because they're retiring my jersey, and there's no choice for the Raptors fans. In some ways, we should have had a poll on this, Masai. We should have voted on this shit and said, yeah, you know what? In the poll, democratic way, and if you had gotten it through that way, well, all right, maybe they'll say, yeah, this is what the Raptors fans want. But honestly, there's so much of us that do not want this that it's ambiguous whether Raptors fans actually really do want Vince Carter's jersey retired. Forget about the NBA fans. Forget about the fans from other nations around the world. We're talking about the real ones, the Raptor fans that have been in the trenches since the beginning. And those are the people that are the lifeblood of the fan nation that come to the games and are diehards like me. And in some ways, you've angered us. You guys have angered us, Masai, by forcing this retirement on us. And a lot of us are not going to accept it. I'm going to, no, I'm not listening. And I'm going to disregard this. This is an unofficial jersey retirement in my mind. And the next one will be the official first one. And for the rest of my life, I will disregard and say Vince Carter's jersey was never retired by the Raptors. And I do not validate that fucking shit in the 30th anniversary season of the Raptors. Seriously, that's how I'm going to be on this. That's how I'm going to be on this. Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Cool Cat saying, Lex, Raptors 30th year for business, nostalgia to ease the rebuilding process for fans. Lex, it's business first. I don't give a shit about business. I'm a fan of a team. And in some ways, business gets you to lose your team like the Oakland A's. So fuck business. Fuck corporations. Fuck the bottom line. Fuck profit margins. Fuck raising ticket sales and having a shitty team on the court. Fuck all that, Cool Cat. You can come at it from that angle. But I come from a pure fan angle of the person, the underdog, the Raptor fan. And in some ways, I'm not thinking about the business shit. I don't give a fuck about that. Like I said, all that extra bullshit, like the purple jerseys, the purple court, the Vince Carter shit, the 30th anniversary, that's window dressing. And the thing I care about is the 48 minutes every 82 games of the Raptors playing. And all that other bullshit, the casuals can get all wrapped up in it and love it and have their distractions this year. No, I'm on the trenches with the rebuilding team, a young squad, and seeing how they develop and come up. That's the only thing I care about. And all this window dressing and all this money grab for purple jerseys and shit like that, I won't participate. Fuck that shit. And yeah, you're right. That's what it is. But I don't mean I have to accept it or like it. And I can have my opinions and say exactly what I'm fucking saying today. That's right. Fiercely saying, just retire the damn jersey and I will sincerely rejoice for Colin DeMar when it's their time. There you go. There you go. That's what it is. That's the way it changes. Is Vince, you know what? You go ahead and have your half-ass jersey retirement where half the nation of the Raptors fans hate it and do not endorse it. You will come around and see when when Kyle and DeMar get their jerseys retired, the real kind of thing it would be. If you had actually had a real legacy, a true legacy with the Raptors, a one that's actually respectable, you will get the treatment that Lowry and DeRozan will down the road. But you won't. You won't ever get that. And it'll be hollow and it'll be half-assed, just like your half-assed career and your half-assed plan in the last year of being a Raptor. Yeah, it's only apropos. That's just the tale of the tale. Is that you half-ass your career, you half-ass your life. Well, you get a half-ass retirement, Vince Carter. That's what you get, motherfucker. Yeah, there you go. And Fiercey's saying it right here. She'll wholeheartedly rejoice when Lowry and DeRozan 7 and 10 go up in the rafters. And those two need to be close to the championship banner. Your ass should be at the other end of the arena. Seriously, Lowry, Van Vliet, Siakam, those are names that need to be next to the championship banner that they earned. They earned. You didn't earn shit on that championship banner. In fact, you put us in a hole that we had to dig out of to get to that championship eventually. Yeah, Masai said, thank you for creating the path for us. Yeah, thank you for putting us in the shithole and fucking crapping all over us. And then we built ourselves up. In fact, thank you to Chris Bosh. In some ways, Chris Bosh, too. He did the same thing as Vince did. And in some ways, DeMar and Kyle get all the credit for building our culture and our team up to get to the point to get the championship. Sure, Vince started the path by crapping on us. Sure. Yeah, there you go. Randolph's here. Blessings, beloved Raptor freaks, most informative gang. There are people who make it their business to say no to you. Never allow such person to tell you who doesn't have the power to say yes. To tell you no, who doesn't have the power to say yes. I love that. That's cool, Randolph. I like your words of wisdom this morning. And Leo's saying, waiting for someone else to make you happy is the best way to be sad. There you go. That's right. Make your own happiness. Sure, there's things that are happening around my life right now that I don't agree with, but it's not the focal point. I have so many other things to celebrate and be happy about. And I have so many cool things going on right now. And in some ways, you got to keep perspective on what really matters. I can separate all this from it. In some ways, when I was a younger man, I would be so livid and pissed. I would be acting in a way, way more out-of-pocket way than I am right now. Trust me, when I was younger and more immature and very emotional about the Raptors in a very serious way, like when this shit happened with Vince, in some ways, I wish I still had my Club 15 shirt from being in Vince Carter's fan club way back when, and I could burn it all over again today. I would do it on this channel right now. If I still had my Vince Carter shirt that I burned way back when he did what he did back then, I would burn it again today if I had it in my hands right now. I'd burn it right now, even if it was worth money. I'd burn that shit on this channel right now. If I still had my Club 15 Vince Carter fan club shirt that I got for joining his fan club back in fucking 1999. Yeah, I burned that shit all over again right now because of what I saw yesterday. That's right. Click saying, calm down, man. Don't hold so much negative energy towards somebody. Listen, Click, I can do what I do. This is what I do on my channel. This is part of the reason why you guys like me and Chef is because we're passionate about the things we care about. And I don't get it twisted. You know how much I love the Raptors. And this is all coming from love. Seriously, you can think this is anger, but this is self-respect. This is self-respect. And the Raptors franchise doesn't want to have self-respect for itself. Well, as a Raptors fan within that franchise, I'm choosing to have self-respect for myself outside of their own decisions with this retirement. There you go. Nako's saying we should have some hater days, like Saturdays, hater days. That doesn't rhyme right, Gerald. I'm not going to do that. It's Saturday Share the Love Club. And honestly, that's what we started with. John Saunders, a great Raptors legend in broadcasting, somebody who's very honorable, somebody that deserves all the respect and the awards and the legacy, unlike Vince, John Saunders. John Saunders is an amazing broadcaster, and we love John to this day, even after his passing. That's right. Fiercey saying Lex is going off. Yeah, call RJ a motherfucker, Mark Zuckerberg a motherfucker. I didn't mean to call RJ a motherfucker. It's just I was going off at that time. He should not be talking to RJ, though. Now, thankfully, RJ and Kelly are home. And in some ways, Vince can't pull his like anti-Canadian shit on Canadians, can he? Right? But I'd be worried about him talking to Jacoby Walter and Grady Dick. Because honestly, Grady Dick could be like listening to Vince's bullshit and be like, you know what? Vince was right. He told me I shouldn't be on the Raptors because I will never be as big enough a star if I'm in Canada. That's the kind of shit Vince is probably talking to the young Raptors. So seriously, y'all really think Vince is a good guy? Y'all really think Vince is a cool dude? No, man. He straight up told the Raptors yesterday, if you want to leave Toronto, I'll help you get out. What the fuck is that, man? Randolph saying, Lex, this too shall pass. Do not allow this to affect your support for the team. Go and enjoy the new era of the team. Let it go, bro. Vince may be working for the Raptors starting this year. Yep. I hope he's not. I don't see how he'd be working for us. I don't want him working for us. He's still, listen, Randolph, everything in its right order. And he still hasn't done something he should have done like a long time ago. He could have done it right after he retired. That would have been perfect if he didn't want to do it while he was still playing. He just hasn't done this yet. In some ways, he could have done it 10 years ago when he came back, the 20th anniversary, and he got a bit of an applause then. He said that healed things. He could have done it then. There were kind of a lot of different opportunities for him to do this. It's not like he doesn't have a microphone in front of him very regularly where he could have came and made a statement or done something. He's just too proud and self-absorbed to understand that he had a part in what happened here in Toronto. And, Rob Babcock's gone. He's dead. He can't apologize for his part. In some ways, Rob Babcock's legacy is he's one of the worst GMs in the history of the NBA. Well, Vince, you've got to sit in your legacy also. All positives and negatives. The positives may be the dunk contest and changing Canada for basketball. Sure. But the negatives are still there. And somebody like me is still going to put that in the legacy. Put that in the legacy because it's important. DeMar DeRozan, exact opposite. He is true one, even though he had every reason to be like you, and he didn't still. That shows real character. That shows a real one. That shows somebody who absolutely deserves to be celebrated. And that shows somebody that I would actually love to come and mentor the young Raptors because I would trust him to understand the respect for our franchise that our alumni should have and instill in our young players that are coming up through the ranks. I don't trust Vince. In some ways, he could come in there and say, you need to go to the Nets. Come play for the Nets like me. It was so perfect. Once I left the Raptors, I went to America. My career was so much better, guys. What the fuck is he going to say to Jacoby Walter? Seriously, think about this, guys. Do we want the fox in the hen house? No, let him go. Get him the fuck out of here. And he's not going to come up here, Randolph, because you know why? He's a coward. In fact, half the time, he worries about coming to Canada because he knows he's going to hear people like me booing him in public places. He knows he's going to hear people say shit to him in public places. He's not universally loved up here. And in some ways, he would never live in Canada again because he knows he'd get shit still to this day until he dies. He does. He knows that. Tom's saying, haha, Nako, dunk. We totally should. No, we're not doing that because we're a team. We're a channel of positivity and love. Even if I go off and I get emotional, and I talk trash and I get a goal like what I did today, don't get it twisted. This is all pure love, what I'm doing right now. This isn't haterade. This isn't hater Saturdays. No, we're not doing that shit. That's not on the formatting schedule, guys. So kill that idea right now, producer Tom. That's right. Bryce is saying Lex is hating on Vince like he hates on Braun. Jeez, I like the ceremony. I thought it was a step forward, but I guess not. Bryce, you have to really listen to Vince. In some ways, I listen to Paul Jones trying to smooth things over. I'll listen to Alvin, his antidote story and stuff like that. I'll listen to Masai and say, yeah, this is the time. We have to do it now. Yeah, we're kind of being forced to do it now, by the way. It's if we were on our own schedule, we would have waited and done Kyle first and then do Vince afterwards. And I would have been okay with that in that order. I think in some ways the first is important. It's like DeMar said, the first team you play for is special. And in some ways, the first jersey retirement for your team is special too. But this sends all the wrong messages that it's this individual in that number. I'm just saying. I mean, y'all watch the ceremony again after what you heard me say and listen to what Vince says. Bryce, seriously, watch it again. The ceremony was nice. Sure, it was all cheery and happy, but I'm reading between the lines. I'm looking at body language. I have, like I do with all the interviews and everything I do when I watch the NBA, I am looking at behaviors. I'm looking at little signs. I'm looking at tells, just like a poker table would. And all the signs there's no remorse. Vince hasn't learned jack shit. And he's just the same undeveloped egotist that he has been this whole time. And that's just it, Bryce. Randolph saying, Lex, what do you think about the Knicks trade? I think it's good for the Knicks. I think Minnesota's an idiot. And also, I don't know if it's for sure a slam dunk that the Knicks will be successful still. Because once again, you can have the ingredients. It looks real good on the table, but when you mix them together, maybe they don't taste right. And we'll have to see. There's no guarantees. It does seem like they are going to be very good. Now, if the Knicks win the championship this year, I won't be that upset because in some ways it'll be nice for OG. And it won't be the Celtics repeating. So, there you go. G saying, let's move forward with positivity. What happened set back the organization, but would not have happened if Vince Masai was here. I think Vince will do right in his speech. Let's hope anyways. Well, I'm going to give him that last chance, G. But I'm going to tell you right now, if he doesn't do something right in the right direction on November the 2nd, I will definitely not be coming down the arena. That's the only way I can protest. I have no power other than myself. I understand that. And my way of protesting is I'm not going to buy tickets. I'm not going to support the team financially in any kind of monetary way. And that's just the way I protest. And I know that may be a drop in the bucket, and a lot of people will. But you know what? If they're listening to me, they can hear my voice. They get market research from the Raptor Freak. Well, you're going to hear me. And there may be other old head Raptor fans like me. I'm talking to my cousin Rick, who's a season ticket holder since the beginning. And he's saying he's done. He's not going to get any tickets with the Raptors anymore. He's sick of this shit. He's sick of the raises and prices. And now the team's not that good. And also he's not totally enamored with this Vince Carter stuff. And he's also upset that Rodgers is the owner now because he has a friend who knows Ed Rodgers, and he knows just how much of a piece of shit he is in real life from a friend of Ed Rodgers that he knows as another person. So, yeah, in some ways, they're going to lose season ticket holders, and they may have horrible ticket sales this year, worse than usual this season for different reasons, whether it's because the team's not playing well and the record's bad and Toronto sports fans just don't come down to a team that's losing, whether it's old, dedicated fans like me that are turned off by this bullshit that's going on right now. So, yeah, you guys understand. You all are in the business to sell tickets and economics. Sure, you may sell a whole bunch of merchandise that's purple this year, but you may see that your attendance is down this year, is what I'm going to say. The Raptors right there. Yeah. Name was saying, VC was such a disgrace, man. This brother is a total fraud. Exactly. See, Nameless is a real one, and he can see through this shit. He's a real one. And in some ways, Nameless is like me. He has the same code, the Paisano code. And in some ways, that Paisano code is very, very important. And in some ways, some of y'all don't get this. Some of y'all are very turn the other cheek, and like, let's think the best and just move on. But no, we're not like that. In some ways, we are a different breed. And in some ways, we are kind of like the Godfather kind of shit. It's like, once you cross us, yeah, you crossed us. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is with Nameless and myself. That's right. Carlos saying, I get you, Lex, but I truly felt Vince's tears yesterday. I'm fine with it. You know what? That tears are not, the tears are, he's like, oh my gosh, you're finally validating me after all the years of booing me and hating on me. Now you guys love me. And oh, I'm so crying. That's why he's crying. He's crying because of his own ego and his feelings of, oh, now they're validating me after all this. Like, seriously, that's what it is, Carlo. And listen, I can disagree with a lot of y'all, and that's fine. Everybody is allowed to have their views on Vince. I'm going to have mine. Y'all can have your own. You can forgive as you want to. But I want y'all to allow me to be where I'm at with him also. And understand, this won't matter for anything that actually matters with the Raptors. This is all superfluous shit anyway. It's just trimmings. And the cake is actually the team and when they're playing in the court in the actual real games and not retired ass Vince with his bullshit. So, I mean, I'm just going to be like this. In some ways, we could fix this, Vince. There's still time. And November the 2nd is your last chance in some ways. That's right. Isaac's saying, Lex about to go into the ACC in the middle of the night to raise his Kyle Lowry jersey to the Raptors. I'll go in there and preemptively do that. Shit. If some people want to be mischief makers and do things to like kind of throw monkey wrenches into stuff, somehow Vince Carter's retirement banner gets defaced, I won't be upset about that. I would not be upset about that as a very diehard loyal Raptors fan. If somebody defaced the Rafters banner for Vince Carter when it goes up, seriously, at some point, sure, put it next to the speaker fire. Sure, I'd love that. That'd be awesome. When we have a speaker fire spontaneously happen near the Vince Carter jersey retirement banner, that would be fantastic. I'd love that. That'd be awesome. G's laughing at Isaac. Yeah, you know what? I'm serious. I might sneak up there. I know some people in the building. Kaz is saying we're still going on Vince. Yeah, we have to, because yesterday they had a big, huge ceremony and they had a big to-do. And the Toronto Raptors admin had a whole bunch of Raptors content out and interviews and the whole ceremony and stuff. And it's all on YouTube. You can watch it and you can see exactly why I'm pissed off. It's all on there. All right, let's go look at some stuff. Let's do the Instagram stories right now. WNBA Toronto president Teresa Resch is showing us what stage of the process of naming our WNBA team we're at right now. We're at stage 6, apparently. And this is this process where they're designing the brand universe for the name finalists. So at this point, really cool. They've gone through the number 1 section was Canadians share ideas and inspirations. Yes. Number 2, review, research, and vet all the names. Okay, they did that. Number 3, community council workshops. So they were kind of looking through the names with the community. Number 4, short list of names is selected. So they had the short list. Then they went and did the IP search and trademark clearance. So they had the short list of names for the WNBA team, and they checked them all out for which ones are copyrighted and which ones are available for us to use for a WNBA team. And they've done that now. And now they're in the part where the short list of names is going through a vetting process where they kind of look at the universe of what that name can espouse and expand into. Like out of there may be like 5 or 6 names, and each one is getting its own like logos and motif and colors, and kind of going through like what would we be called for a nickname? What kind of cheers would the fans do for our team with that name? What kind of like side characters could we have, like a mascot that would be fitting into that world? That's kind of where they're at right now. They're kind of exploring the universe of the short list of names that they have and seeing which one has the best legs or the best kind of like package to go into the. And there's 2 more steps after this: decision reviews, and then final selection is made. So it's nice to see the process internally by them sharing exactly where they're at. And it kind of gives us a timeline of this is close, guys. This means that we're going to have our WNBA nickname and logo and stuff in the near future, because this is near the end of the process. Honestly, the tough, amazing, huge part of it, most of it has been done. And now they're getting near the end of the light of the tunnel with this. This is awesome. Yesterday, Garrett Temple was not at Dixon Court. And in some ways, he's friends with Vince. So I'm surprised about this. But maybe it was good that the longest standing Raptor, the franchise face, and the oldest Raptor on the team were not at that ceremony with Vince yesterday. Garrett's on a beach with his wife. And he says, I love this woman. And it's so beautiful to see the love between that couple. An amazing person, Garrett Temple and his wife. That's somebody who has a great legacy. That's somebody who is a good role model. That is somebody, even though he never had no highlight dunks like Vince Carter or the long ass career. He did have a long career, though. He has a long career right now. He's somebody to look up to. He's the kind of person that is a good mentor. Garrett Temple, right there. There's RJ Barrett posting Vince, whispering in his ear at the Dixon Court yesterday. I'm hoping RJ's not listening to him. Whatever Vince said to you, RJ, just go in the opposite. Whatever he said to you, don't listen to him. Seriously, you're back home. You're back in the Mississauga, Toronto area. It's so nice. You're going to do things right for your city, for your country. And Vince Carter has nothing to offer you. You go listen to Masai, go listen to your dad. You have so many other great mentors around you. Vince Carter has nothing to offer you. Just trust me, RJ Barrett. Nothing. Jamal McGlure at Scarborough's a joke. Jamal McGlure Foundation doing all kinds of things, some funding for students for the school year coming up right now. I love to see it. Good. You go, Jamal McGlure. You are awesome, man. And everything you're doing in the community, all of the great philanthropy. Yeah, we love Jamal McGlure, our former Raptor. He has a great legacy, a legacy for the community, a legacy that's true to Toronto, a legacy that is true to the Raptors. And that's why we love Jamal McGlure. I can show y'all all good examples of good standing people in Raptors alumni that can really show you just how bad Vince is. Seriously. So, yeah, good to see Jamal. And he's putting on blast, though, Vince. He's saying today is more than just a retirement. It's a celebration of a legacy. Yeah, Vince kept saying legacy. Legacy. You got to think about legacy. Okay, motherfucker. Your legacy is good and bad, just so you know. And don't you forget the bad part, because we won't let you forget it. Jay Nathan putting Vince on blast. He was standing right behind Vince on in the picture of the ceremony cutting. And in some ways, Jonathan Mobo, being a Florida guy, in some ways, he's susceptible to Vince getting in his ear. That's in some ways. You guys love Vince when he goes and tells Scotty Barnes and Jonathan Mobo to take their services to South Beach? Will y'all love Vince Carter then when you find out in a tell-all book like 20 years from now that possibly Vince Carter encouraged some of our top players to go and play in the States instead of playing for the Raptors? Will y'all still love him then? Seriously, I'm going to ask Raptors fans that right now. Will you still love Vince when he encourages some of our top players to go play in other teams? Seriously, I'm wondering that, guys. Scotty Barnes may not have been at the ceremony, but he did post something on his Instagram about Vince. He said Vince Carter is a Raptors legend, and sometimes and he did amazing things for the community here in Toronto. We're excited to see number 15 in the rafters. Scotty, you're awesome. We love you. I'm so happy you're going to become a dad. And you know what? You go, Big Four. And I'm glad you're happy about the 15 going up there. I wish I could be with you on that, but I'm not. But in some ways, you know what? I'm glad that you are honoring the legacy. In some ways, it would have looked bad if Scott didn't show up to the ceremony and he didn't say anything on social media. So in some ways, he may have had to do this, honestly. I know he probably does like Vince, and he probably is a fan of what he did back in the day. So it probably was easy for him. But I'll bet you in some ways, the Raptors are like, Scotty, you have to say something about Vince in the ceremony today because you're not going to be there. And we don't want it to have the optics of looking like something. You know what I'm saying? So in some ways, that's part of it. The Raptor is there. Of course, he was there and he was talking to Vince. He had a very heartfelt moment with him, talking to him in his ear. I'm sure the Raptor had some very nice things to say to Vince in that moment. But it's good to see Raptor there in the purple front, black back at the ceremony of the cutting of the ribbon. So there he is. It's really cool to see. The Raptor's awesome. In fact, we're going to celebrate the Raptor very soon, guys, because he is a part of the 30th anniversary celebration, being our 30th anniversary. Jeff Landicho was there filming the event yesterday. He's not always down at that thing, but he was there this week. Let's see who else we got. Kelly Olynyk putting on blast the Vince Carter thing yesterday on his Instagram stories, and also the ribbon cutting. There he is right behind Vince and next to him. Also, Ulrich Shamshay putting on blast the Vince Carter thing. Bruno Fernando, when it was made light that Vince was like, yeah, I was teammates with Bruno Fernando over there. And Bruno, you're everywhere, my guy. And he even seemed like, yeah, Bruno, you don't want to play for the Raptors. It's kind of the vibes he is given to Bruno Fernando. I don't know, Vince, you're such a in some ways, it's kind of funny that we have Bruno on our team, that you played with him on Atlanta. But that's also cool. That shows that Bruno's got experience in the league, because Vince, you've been retired for 4 years. And then they showing all the jerseys all over the town on Raptors official admin. Yeah, they put them in the ROM. They put them in the aquarium. They put them up on the CN Tower. They put those jerseys everywhere. Doug Smith said there were hundreds, but I don't think there were hundreds. There are probably dozens. And also, Vince did take the time to point out Doug Smith and thank him. Yeah, you used Doug Smith to help you get the fuck out of Toronto. He was the one who was putting all that shit in the Toronto Star. And in some ways, you love Doug Smith, and Doug Smith loves you because of, in some ways, that friendship between Vince Carter and Doug Smith is so full of shit. And it was a big part of why Vince Carter had to leave, is because of the reporting of Doug Smith. So, yeah, you go ahead and thank Doug Smith at your jersey retirement announcement, Vince Carter. That optically looks bad also, just so you know. DJ Carton putting Vince Carter's ceremony on blast on his, and he's got new watches. Those are kind of cool. Jamal Shed is not putting it on blast, though. I love it. He's got a football player on his Instagram. We see Matt Devlin wearing the purple front black back of 15, Forever 15, Matt Devlin. Not at the ceremony, but he's somewhere rocking the 15 for Vince. Yeah, all right. And then also he's saying half man, half amazing, half a legacy. How about that, Matt? Half a legacy. Dylan Disu is not celebrating Vince. He's got a friend of his on blast there. Let's see. Raptors 905 are asking us to vote for our lunar jerseys in the jersey tournament with the G League right now. We're up against Delaware Bluecoats, and they've got Jeff Doughton Jr. in the picture for the Delaware Bluecoats. So Raptors fans, let's beat the Delaware Bluecoats on the jersey bracket and vote for your Lunar New Year jerseys. They're beautiful Chinese dragon jerseys over the Delaware Bluecoats, weird horsey whatever is going on there. So let's show team pride and vote for our 905 in the jersey tournament. Pascal Siakam is still over in Greece. That's a real one. This guy's going to have a legacy that matters, a legacy that's important, a legacy untarnished, a legacy on how to do things right. We love you, Siakam. You deserve all the love and the blessings you're going to get eventually when your jersey's retired by the Toronto Raptors. You will have a unanimous love and passion around you, unlike the guy who's getting it right now. That's right. We love you, Siakam. So many cool pictures. There's a mountain. There's a donkey. So much cool stuff there. And I think that's it for the Instagram stories right there. There's your Raptors Instagram stories for today. Yeah. Alley oop to Isaac. All right. Yeah, we can give Isaac Campbell a dunk for being a farmer and being benevolent. Yeah. There we go. Let's see. What is it? 122. 122 for Isaac Campbell on the dunk list. Nameless saying, I think Lex should attend the game and charge the court during the ceremony. Get chicken winged out of there. You know what? I can't do that. You know why? Because I'll get banned from the arena for life. And I will not do that, Nameless. In some ways, if you go on the court, if you do certain activities, they will ban you from life. And I don't want to do that, Nameless. I'm smarter than that. If somebody else does it and they don't care, hey, I power to them. That'd be awesome. Because in some ways, that'd be kind of like a weird, like fight the power kind of move. Like they run out there and kind of disrupt the ceremony because you don't feel like it's right. It's kind of like at a wedding. We say, is anyone here have anything they want to say before I put this people in marriage? Does anyone have anything to say? And some motherfucker stands up in the back at your wedding and say, I have something to say. She was at my house last night with me. Whoa. Oh, you know, can we have that little moment at the retirement jersey ceremony? Can we say, like, get on the mic? Besides, like, does anyone here have anything they want to dispute or say before we retire his jersey? Yeah, a whole bunch of arms go up all around the arena. Yeah, that'd be something right there. I think that'd be awesome. Fiercely saying, I missed the first few minutes of the stream. Did we share the love for John Saunders? Yes. And definitely, if you didn't watch my stream from the start, catch up. And always, if you're rewatching me when I'm not live, watch me at 1.5 speed. I'm very, very quick then. And yeah, I talk real fast, but you can still understand me. Yeah, I candy. Yeah, Cat is not a Tibbs player. Ooh, that's a good point by Carlo. How will Karl Anthony Towns fit with Thibodeau's demanding coaching? Yeah, this may be part of why Anthony Edwards is not sorry to see this guy go, because in some ways, Anthony Edwards works a certain way, and maybe Karl Anthony Towns doesn't work a certain way. This could be part of what I'm talking about. Just because it looks good on paper, it looks good on an ESPN waiver wire flash, news flash at the bottom, doesn't mean it looks good on the court altogether. Exactly. We know this because we've seen teams get high-profile players and put them together, and they just don't mesh. So there's nothing guaranteed for New York as far as success on this. We're going to have to see how it all goes. In some ways, they are very set up. In some ways, it seems like. But are they? We don't know for sure. That's right. We don't know for sure. Yeah. Kaz is saying Cat is soft, and that may be part of it right there. Carlos saying Knicks fans hate it. Wolves fans hate it. Funny trade. I don't know why the Knicks fans hate it. They should love it. They should be like, we got a center. We got one of the best centers in the league. Oh, my gosh, this is great. We had this hole, and now we don't have to play Precious at center. We've got Karl Anthony Towns. So I don't understand why Knicks fans would hate this trade. If they do, they're crazy. They're crazy. Bryce is saying, didn't Tibbs use Coach Cat at the Wolves? Did Thibodeau coach the Wolves for a while? I think you're right. I don't remember. Cool Cat saying Cat's a 3-point shooting effect. Well, one thing that may not work with this is Cat likes to hang out on the outside. And in some ways, Gobert was doing all the dirty work for the Timberwolves on the inside, like the rebounding. And in some things, the thing that they have to replace with Hartenstein is that. So is Cat going to sacrifice his outside game and be more of a traditional big for the Knicks and getting down low and doing more stuff near the basket? That's going to be part of the question. Maybe on offense, he's going to be outside still. But on defense, he will go down there and do the dirty physical work of getting the defensive rebounds and trying to guard the rim. We'll have to see, because in some ways, he's been off the hook for that the last couple of years playing next to Gobert, who took care of those aspects for the Timberwolves. That's right. Name is saying, I'm with you, Alex. I took one look at this brother and thought, why is he dressed like he's at a kid's summer basketball camp? Yeah, Nameless. I mean, seriously, the nonchalantness of this just shows just how much this is not important to him. In some ways, he can act like it's important, but in some ways, it doesn't like seem like it makes sense. Seriously, like, why did you come so nonchalant and unprepared? In some ways, he said this happened organically. Bullshit. We were forced to do this. In some ways, we were pressed by the NBA to do this. And in some ways, it's the Nets and what they did. In some ways, it's probably Adam Silver in the NBA kind of pushing that, like, Raptors, you're in your 30th anniversary. You need to retire a jersey. Y'all have never retired a jersey, and this is the year to do it. And I sincerely hope you would retire Vince Carter's jersey, because that'll be great money and merchandising for the NBA and everything. I think mainstream NBA bullied us to do this. And in some ways, if Raptors Nation was left up to it, we wouldn't have done this. And in some ways, the Brooklyn Nets forcing our hand. In some ways, Vince is saying that he told the Nets that I want to give the Raptors an opportunity to retire my jersey before you guys. So that's why the Nets picked January. And then like the Masai was pressured. And in some ways, he's like, you know what? Masai's taking the high road. In some ways, if we didn't do this, in some ways, people would say this and this and this. I was ready to do that, though, is go the low road and take all the criticism of not retiring his jersey. I was ready for that. That's why I was suggesting to Masai the statue instead of the jersey retirement. It's like, if you really want to do something, it's bigger than what the Brooklyn's doing. You do the statue and you leave it outside. You don't bring him inside the arena, because in some ways we don't need that 15 over our heads in the arena where we play, because it's a bad karma. It's a bad energy. It's a bad reminder of a bad chapter ending in Raptors history. And in some ways, I don't think that people understand the implications of when you retire a jersey, that shit stays in your arena forever. And in some ways, that's why I do not recognize it. And that's why I'm not, that banner is going to be something that I don't think it will exist in my mind. It may be physically in the building, but in my heart and in my mind, it's not existing. It's not existing, because I have more respect for Raptors Nation and the Raptors team than our own team does right now, apparently. Yeah, in some ways, that's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. Yeah. Let's go. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. I lost my place, so let me find where I was. I'm gonna make sure I get this here. I wanted to see. All right, here we go. Let's see. Isaac saying, I cannot remember, but I probably wore sweatpants to my grade 6 graduation. You know, Vince is dressed very nice to all kinds of events in the past. I've seen him wear a very nice suit to all kinds of stuff. I guess this just didn't warrant it. Maybe it's because it was outside. It's not like it's super hot right now in Toronto, Vince. You probably could have gotten away with wearing a suit like Paul Jones. And in some ways, Paul Jones and Masai looking dressed to the T's, to the nines. You know, even Alvin looked like he was dressed up a little bit better than you, and you look like a bum at your own ceremony. Yeah, that doesn't look good, man. That doesn't look good. Omari's saying, morning, freaks. I'll be in the fantasy league. All right, you want to be in? Well, you need to accept it through the email. And Omari, you need to be an active manager. You cannot half-ass this. You need to be actively trying to play and being engaged in our fantasy league if you want it, because there's a lot of people want to play, and I want active managers. I want people that are going to play. Cool Cat saying OG and Mikhail as a small forward and power forward is a defensive nightmare. We'll have to see. This is all theory right now. And once again, in some ways, the pieces of the puzzle fit for the Knicks really well last year, but they screwed around with their puzzle this summer, and we'll have to see. Cool Cat saying, Lex, Raptors is a business. Don't be emotional. Be emotional over players. Vince showed the GOAT who he is, and Raptors are fine with it. The GO, I don't know what it is. I mean, Cool Cat, don't tell me how to be. Listen, we're all our own people, and we have our own sensibilities. I can be emotional. In fact, I hate when people tell me not to get emotional. In some ways, I'm controlling my emotions. Like I said, if I was younger, I would go off even worse right now and go off. In some ways, I'm very proud of myself with the maturity that I'm handling this situation, because I'm holding self-respect for myself within this very disgraceful thing that's happening. And in some ways, I'm proud of myself for that. So you guys can have a different take on this, and you can be like, why is Lex so emotional about this? Because I really fucking care. Because Cool Cat, I was in the arena. I was there. I saw Vinsanity firsthand. I felt it every day when I went to work. And I felt every painful thing afterwards also. And I've seen how Vince has acted since. And he's never, ever came correct in the right way at any point. And he doesn't see anything with anything that he did wrong. He said that to Alvin. And Alvin said, yeah, Vince doesn't feel like he did anything wrong. So I'm sorry. I cannot celebrate somebody who it just does not get it. And I'm fine with this. You should be fine with me being like this, because it's just my right. And I'm fine with you guys wholeheartedly getting behind it, and that's fine. You guys go ahead. Some people will sheep towards this. And just because Masai says it, they'll go ahead and do it. Well, this is one of those times I disagree with Masai. This is one of those times. And in some ways, I don't disagree with Masai very often, but I do right now. And it should be my freedom and my right. Of course, I'm emotional. I get up every fucking day to talk about the Raptors for 3 years straight. That's a passion. And of course, I'm going to be emotional. Nameless saying New York definitely got more bona fide. I finally have to take them seriously. I think that's true too. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Kareem saying, bro, I didn't realize how much of an ego Vince has. He had the chance to address the departure in a small crowd. He has one more chance, but this time it'll be in front of 20,000 and millions of viewers. I know he could have done it in a small way, and the real ones like us who watch everything Raptors would have seen it, and it would have smoothed things over. But he's not cognizant of this. He's not aware. Kareem, as a very diehard Raptor freak, somebody who's really a passionate Raptors fan, has been an ardent supporter of Vince in this situation. But he even is seeing now what I'm talking about as far as he has an ego and he's just blind to the reality of the whole situation. And this is what infuriates me the most, is that this guy has not done any personal growth as a person. It's like he's the same fuckhead from Tar Heels in the very beginning of his whole entire basketball career. He has not grown as a person. He has not expanded himself. DeMar DeRozan's journey is in a book, and it's a bestseller in Canada, and he is sharing it with everyone. In some ways, DeMar DeRozan's doubling down on legacies, like Matt Galloway said on CBC Radio when he had DeMar DeRozan on recently. He said, you have a legacy in basketball as one of the top scorers in the history of the NBA, and also a legacy outside of it for mental health. Well, Vince doesn't even have a one whole legacy in the NBA. He has a half man legacy. And I'll say that DeMar's got two legacies that he can be proud of for the rest of his life and go forward and it being a huge impact and a very, very good role model. And Vince has a half-assed half legacy in basketball. That's the way I look at it right there. That's the way I look at it right there. Yeah. G saying Alvin Williams deserves something. He was there and happy for Vince too. He's a true Toronto man. Yeah. Alvin's the best. He's a saint. And in some ways, I feel bad for Alvin having to be involved in this, but he is the closest teammate to Vince Carter from his era. And in some ways, Alvin still being a part of our broadcast and still very much being around Toronto a lot, it made total sense he'd be there. I love the unadulterated love that Alvin Williams has for Vince Carter. And he really does understand that in some ways his career was very much helped by Vince. And I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that. But also in some ways, if Vince had been a little bit more, he could have taken Alvin even further. In some ways, it's that day when he went to graduate and other places too, as far as things. But, Alvin Williams was on that team too. Maybe he wasn't the franchise face, but he didn't pull any of this kind of bullshit that Vince did to get his ass out of there. No, he stuck through it. He went through the hard times with the Raptors. He went through the losing. He came and he bridged the Vince Carter era to the Bosch era. And he was there for us. And that's why he's beloved. That's why the legacy of Alvin Boogie Williams with the Raptors is intact and 100% loved. And I don't see how anybody could be mad at Alvin like we're mad at Vince, because he didn't do anything like Vince did. And man, Alvin's so awesome. I love Alvin. And once again, as his story, he meant well in what he was trying to illustrate about Vince, trying to say he has no ego. But I'm sorry, Alvin. You can say that Vince has no ego. Paul Jones, you can say the same damn thing. But we can see that he has an ego just from when he's talking. And some things, you guys can say that. And I want to believe what you're saying, but it's obvious that he does. And Alvin, your story was awesome. I loved hearing it. But once again, I will say that shows that Vince is soft and he didn't care enough to yell at you for taking the stolen play at the end of that game and losing the game. If he was Kobe Bryant, he would have been so pissed that they lost. But honestly, he just didn't care. He's like, oh, it's all right. We'll just get the next one. That speaks a lot about the compete in Vince Carter, is what I'm going to say right there. Dunk at G. Yeah, we'll give G a dunk. G's awesome. G's a longstanding, very knowledgeable, intelligent Raptors fan that I have so much respect for, our first trivia champion. And in some ways, guys, I know I'm not lining up exactly with all y'all on this, but I want my voice to be heard. And in some ways, if there is people listening to me, whether it's in the MLSE, whether it's Fan Nation across the place, whether it's people in the media, this opinion that I'm spouting right here, go ahead and copy me or want to talk about it and put it on more amplified. I have no problem with it. And MLSE, if you want unsolicited feedback from what happened yesterday, you're hearing it from me today. Exactly how I feel about it. I love you, Masai, but man, you deserve so much more than what you did yesterday. Seriously, our team deserves so much more. That's what I'll say right there. Yeah. Let's see. Cool Cat saying at some point, DeMar, Lowry, Siakam will get their jersey retirement and championship statues coming. Yeah, I love it. I don't know what statues are going to happen, but in some ways, I really wish it had happened and we weren't doing this jersey. It would have been the perfect decision, Masai. It would have made me happy. It would have made things all right. It would have trumped what this Nets were doing in a bigger way. It was really the right decision. But man, if you guys do a statue and a jersey, I'm gonna be pissed because honestly, you shouldn't have done the jersey. The jersey is sacred. The jersey is for real ones. The jersey is for people that embody the franchise fabric of the morals and the culture. And Vince Carter does not do that for the Raptors. And by setting him as the first one, it sets a tone that's just not the right tone for what it takes to be retired by our jerseys. And in some ways, what is that message to Scotty Barnes? I say that once again. What is that message we're sending to Scotty right now? Seriously. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Nameless saying, agree. Gee, I got more Rispetto. Is that for respect? Rispetto for Alvin after that performance. Alvin's just class. Alvin is a broadcaster, and he sounded like a way better public speaker when he got out there. We've seen Alvin's journey as a broadcaster for the Raptors. He's getting better and better every year. He's so good. He's working on his craft. And Vince, why are you such a bumbling idiot with a microphone? You should be more clear spoken. Maybe it's because you're having a hard time coming clean and being authentic with us. I think that's what it is. I think that sometimes it's easy for people that are authentically being themselves to be themselves and speak clearly, but you can't look us in the eye. You're kind of looking down. You're kind of looking every which way. You're not talking directly to the fans. You're talking to Masai. You're talking to the players. You're talking to Alvin. You're talking to Dave, but you're not talking directly to the fans because in some ways you don't respect us. You still don't. And in some ways you don't have anything you want to say to us because we booed you for so long and you're still hurt by that. And you get a little ceremony at Dixon Court yesterday and you start crying about it. Oh, I don't feel bad for Wentz. I don't feel the emotion like some of y'all did with it. There's no healing in that because it's egotistically all self-centered for himself. And if you guys don't get that, it's not healing for us. Did you guys feel healed from that yesterday? No, I didn't. Maybe it's healing for him. But once again, it's always only been about Vince the whole time with him. That's what it is right there. That's right. G saying, question, if Vince addresses how he left in his speech, doesn't that draw more attention to it, especially to the young fans around the world? What do you think is best for the franchise? Well, I would say this. I mean, look, when you're talking about reconciliation, whether it's on the big scale of Aboriginals in Canada, you want to change the history and just whitewash the history of the horribleness of residential schools and not come correct with like saying, yeah, we did you wrong. And in some ways, the government of Canada needs to apologize for how we treated the native people here on this continent. You know, that's what I'm talking about right there. It may be an extreme example, and some people may be insulted by me using that example, but it's kind of a similar kind of thing. How do you fucking forgive somebody who shows no remorse or has no admittance of any wrongdoing? And that's the problem here, right here. And it didn't have to be very big or very huge, but he has no ability in his ego to do this. That's what I'm realizing. In some ways, he has the same problem that Trump has, that he cannot see past his own faults. And you could say, oh, I'm worried about him acknowledging this. No, because in some ways, the young fans need to know the truth about him. And if he admits it and he says it, well, that would go a long way with us older fans. And maybe, yeah, some of the young fans would find out. But I think they're hearing the truth about it anyway. It's not like we're saying stuff. And some people are like, why are the older fans not happy about this? Oh, I need to go investigate this. And then they go look at the stats on Basketball Reference. And they see the 12 points he averaged in the 20 games that he played for Sam Mitchell as a Raptor. Yeah, they see that. And they're like, what the? Look at how he jumped to 26 as soon as he went to New Jersey. Yeah. In some ways, the young fans need to be educated correctly, just like citizens and young people in the United States need to be educated on slavery correctly. How about that? And maybe some people are insulted by me saying that. I mean, I'm not saying they're the same thing. I'm not equalizing things. I'm just saying this is the same kind of action as far as like, yeah, we can just celebrate the good stuff about America. But hey, are we going to forget about all the fucking horrible things America did too? Is what I'm saying right now. That's what I'm saying right there. Kareem saying he tried to water down the real subject and it had enjoy the moment. Those things were done and things will need to be addressed. When that's done, we'll enjoy the moment. No, seriously, it reminded me so much of when Kawhi came and took the mic at our championship parade and he said, just enjoy this moment, Canada, soak it in, kind of. That's what he said, right? Because he knew he was leaving already. And in some ways, it's him just saying, yeah, you guys, you're lucky you're getting this moment because of me. And that's the energy that Vince had yesterday when he started saying, like, you know, enjoy this moment, Raptors fans, because your franchise isn't good enough to get jersey retirements every day, is basically what he said. That's basically what he said if you really listened to him yesterday. Kareem saying, gee, it's like literally 50-50 split, but I think he would heal many wounds if he address it or just apologize. I mean, it's so simple, but I really do get the feeling that he's one of these people that just is above apologizing to anyone. Like, it could be that he was raised in a way where you should never apologize to anyone anytime. That's a real character defect. Seriously, that's a real character defect if you are not able to apologize for wrongdoings that you've done to other people. It's a sociopath kind of defect also, just so y'all know. A sociopath is someone who doesn't think they do any wrong, and they do not have to apologize for anything they did wrong. And that it's symptomatic in the guy who's running for president in the Republican Party right now. So in some ways, it's the same action. Seriously, that dude won't apologize for anything he did wrong. He'll circle around it, do all this. So in some ways, Vince Carter is just doing the same action with us. And that's what his speeches sounded like to me yesterday. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying Detroit said they want a WNBA team back. It was called Detroit Shock. Now they call it Dallas Wings. Yeah, they lost their team to Dallas, and it went over there. I don't think this is likely. The Detroit market is in trouble. The Pistons team is having a hard enough time, and they're established a championship team from back in the day, and they're having a hard time selling tickets. There's no way they'll bring back the Shock for the Detroit city right now. There's much better markets that are more deserving of getting their team back than the Detroit Shock. So they can say that, but they're not going to get it. Philadelphia is more likely to get it next, maybe even Memphis. It could even be a Houston return, but that's not likely either. Houston and Detroit are not good markets for the WNBA, at least what it seems like. G saying, yes, I think apologizing would heal some wounds. That's what I was hoping for. When I saw that happen, I was gone. I had to go see my grandmother yesterday. I went and visited her. She's 102. I love her so much. It's such a blessing when I get to go see my grandmother and sit down and talk to her. That's what I was doing when Vince was doing his little bullshit over at Dixon Court. I was out with my grandmother, visiting with her. When I came home, I saw all the clips y'all put in the Facebook chat, and I watched them. And when I put it on, I was literally seriously, all right, this could be it. This could be the time when we're finally going to fix things. And I really did come in with that energy, and I was so disappointed in what he said. I was just like, man, he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. He has a thick skull, and he has an egotism that just blinds him from being able to see anything outside of himself. And it's just sad. In some ways, as an egotist myself, I admit I've been an egotistical person in my life, but I've had growth over my life to put myself empathized in other places. And Vince does not have this ability. And in some ways, that's sad. That's very, very much sad. In some ways, he's a flawed person. And it is what it is. It is what it is. Nameless saying, I was expecting Vince to slip a little apology in somewhere, but nope. He went the other way and continued to rub egg all over our face. Exactly. And he did it in a very like left-handed compliment way. I feel bad. Like in some ways, that's why I'm saying I have self-respect for myself. I'm going to separate myself from this celebration, and I'm not participating in it because in some ways that, you know what, I can be a Raptors fan still and not like this. There's nothing wrong with that. Anybody who's telling me I'm not a real Raptors fan because I'm not getting on board y'all's Vince Carter love train, well, stuff it. You're wrong. Trust me, you're wrong. And there's some other Raptors fans like me that be like, yeah, Lex is a real one. He's a real one right now. And y'all, I don't want y'all to just follow my lead. In some ways, it is important on my Raptor Freak channel that y'all have your own opinions and you do your own thing. But if you feel like I make sense and you want to go with me, you're more than welcome. But otherwise, I'm not here to try and tell everybody to reject this. That's not what I'm doing. All I'm doing is espousing my own personal opinions on this, and that's all. In some ways, I'll show you the shirt I'm wearing right now. This is a shirt that's from the Vince Carter era that my girlfriend at the time gave me during that time. You see how faded it is. You see how it is. It's on it. It says like NBA Players Association, like 99 or something like that. It's just to show my longevity with this team and how long I've been watching it. This shirt is like 25 years old. So in some ways, that's just how it is. Time does heal stuff. But when somebody does a crime to you and they're never really remorseful, I get it. Somebody murders your sister and you just to get on with your life, you forgive them so you can move on. This isn't what this is. In some ways, this is different. In some ways, they have to do that for survival for themselves. And they know they'll never get the apology from the murderer. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But this is the thing. I am the kind of person that operates, well, if somebody's going to shit on me and they're not going to apologize for it, they're dead to me. And that's just how it is. Because I have respect for myself. And that's what it is right there. That's what it is right there. Kareem saying, isn't funny they are doing his jersey retirement at halftime? Doesn't this happen before the games? Instead, people will be running to take a piss and get their $12 beers. They're doing it at halftime. Hey, whatever. I mean, that is kind of funny. In some ways, half man, half amazing, half legacy, half time. Some people are making jokes on social media that when they raise his banner up, they need to break it at halfway through, and it just kind of half-ass gets up there. I mean, in some ways, we may start using Vince Carter as a substitute for half-assing. Don't Vince Carter this shit. Yeah, I might start doing that. But then again, maybe it'll be reminding us of him too often. But in some ways, synonymously, full ass Kareem, he's full ass, and Vince Carter will end up being half-ass. Yeah, the epitome of half-assing. That's right. Isaac's saying half man, half amazing, half-ass ceremony. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Half-ass ceremony. Like, seriously, he's not going to get a fully wholehearted, loving response from the Raptors fans when this happens. He won't. I'm telling you, there's going to be some boo birds no matter what. It's going to happen. Now, when DeMar comes and he gets his, he's going to see the difference, and he's going to see 100% the fans are loving and supportive, and that'll be so like a moment of like, yeah, DeMar, you know what, you may have been hurt by Masai trading you and going through your depression and the whirlwind of emotions after you went to see Equalizer 2 at Grauman's Chinese Theater. You may have been lost that day, but boy, did you find your way back to the love and the support and the undying adulation of the Raptors nation for you. And in some ways, Vince will never get that. He's tarnished it. And if he's warning the young Raptors about thinking about their legacy, well, Vince, you made a lot of mistakes with your legacy. And in some ways, that's the cautionary tale. That's the tale that DeMar DeRozan took from it, as he says in Above the Noise. He saw how Vince treated his exit and how that hurt the Raptors nation. And he was like, I'll never do something like that. And that's why he said, I am Toronto. That's why he said, I've got you. And even his own detriment, he was like that for us. And he still is to this day. Like when he did that interview with Matt Galloway on CBC Radio, he's like, I love this city and nothing's changed. I'm proud of the 9 years I did here. That's how you keep a legacy intact. That's how you keep the right way, even with everything that went on with DeMar DeRozan. This man is above it. This man's above the noise. This man's for real, and this man's a real one, and he is a real Raptors legend and a real Raptors retired jersey person and a nominee. And in some ways, Vince, you will never, ever, ever have that kind of feeling around you like DeMar DeRozan does. That's just the damn truth. It's just the damn truth. That's right. All right, let's keep going. Nameless saying, I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. Some condescending BS from a guy dressed like my uncle at a family barbecue. You want a dunk? You're getting one, because that is hilarious and on point. There's nothing I can dispute about what Nameless just said about Vince Carter right there. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. Some condescending BS from a guy dressed like my uncle at the family barbecue. That is beautiful. Nameless, you really are a wordsmith sometimes. And in some ways, I got to give you a 10-pointer for that. That is worth 10. 58 dunks for Nameless, my paisano. That's beautiful. Yeah. Carlos saying, a different note, Masai is such a cool motherfucker. Yeah, on a different note, that's true. And honestly, he's such a great speaker. And, I know what you're trying to do, Masai. And I'm trying to go with you, man. I really want to do this, but I need something from Vince. I just need it from Vince. And I don't know if you can actually talk to him about that. In some ways, I wanted Masai to talk about when they possibly would have brought Vince as a player here. He said that he's talked to him a lot over the years and tried to keep things cool. But in some ways, it's like Vince has always shat on us, Masai. He has. He's shat on us on NBA TV on ESPN. Whenever he gets a chance, he says some bullshit about the Raptors. He's never, ever believed we're a team that should be a have in the league. That's part of the problem. There's a lot of people in the NBA infrastructure that look at the Raptors as a bottom feeder, as a team that doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs, as a team that just should be happy to be here. In some ways, we have championship aspirations. We have winning mentalities that Masai want us to have. But there is a hierarchy and an infrastructure in the NBA that Vince Carter is a part of that holds us down. And even the way he shaped some of the statements he said about our franchise in the ceremony yesterday was very condescending, as Nameless said, and putting us down and showing us our place in the league. And if you guys are not hearing what I'm saying from what he heard, go back and listen to him again and listen to exactly what he said, because I watched it a couple times. And I wanted to say, oh, okay, I broke it down. I looked at it. I looked at body language. I looked at how he said it. I looked at the way he stammered. I looked at the way he looked down and all around and not at anybody else. I looked at all that kind of stuff and I read him. And in some ways, the belief that the Raptors are a sub team in the league that do not belong on the same tier as teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Bulls is very much comes true in his energy, in his own retirement announcement ceremony yesterday. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Dapta nameless. Kareem saying, I know contractors that can grade, pave, and get it professionally painted. Bleachers fenced in for under 100,000. What the fuck is MLSE spending 1 million on only 4 courts? Yeah, I don't know. In some ways, it's the fancy paint job. In some ways, this is where our ticket money's going to. Bullshit like this. I mean, I love that the courts are out there for the community and these kids will get to play. And it may very well encourage the next young Canadian superstar to get into the sport in those areas. That's all great and that's important. But once again, I want to make it very clear, average Raptors fan, that in some ways MLSE is trying to make you think that Vince came back and did something nice for the community. He didn't. They did that around him to make him look good. He didn't pay a damn cent to fix those courts, and he pledged to do that years ago. But get it, he left in a bad way, and he started hearing the booze, and now he has an antagonistic animosity with Raptors fan nation. And in some ways, you can tell that. He wouldn't address the fans directly in certain ways in his speech yesterday. And in some ways, that's why he gave up on his promise to keep up the court at Dixon Road over the years. And that the Raptors just saw this as an opportunity. They knew that Vince Carter court was out there. And they're like, you know what? This is how we can heal things. Let's spruce it up and we'll have Vince come in. Vince didn't have, that wasn't his idea. He didn't want to do that. He didn't spend a single cent to fix his own damn court. And instead, he got a court honoring him on our dime, our ticket payers' dime. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Kareem's saying, nameless, I'm that guy. Nameless, am I your uncle? So it's like that's Kareem's style. That's funny. Preach on. That's funny. Yeah. Uncle Kareem, is that you? That's hilarious. Smooth saying, I'm surprised he didn't apologize. I expected it. Disappointing. I did too. I was like, okay, here it comes. In fact, I told my parents, Mom, Dad, be quiet for a sec. I want to listen to Vince. I'm hoping he's going to apologize to us. And it didn't come. It's too bad. It's very disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. He had a good opportunity to do it yesterday, and he dropped the ball. He dropped the ball on a lot of things in his life. Trust me. Yeah, Kareem saying, it's been a while, nameless. Yes, it's me. He's like not the absent dad. He's the absent uncle. Carlos saying, I was screaming, just apologize, Vince. I know. I was just wishing he would. And he couldn't even do it. I'm telling you, his ego won't let him. I don't understand why. Nameless saying, my mother always mentioned she had a long lost brother. It all makes sense now. I love this comedy in the middle of all this. And you guys are making me laugh in the middle of like being really pissed off, but I love it. Name is saying Dana was stuck in the dispensary making life decisions. There's a lot of different strains at dispensaries these days. I could see why you could be inside the dispensary for a while trying to suss out what you need to get. But if there's a lineup, you better be quick. You better be quick. Cowboy saying sativa or indica or maybe a hybrid, Dana. Yeah, I don't know what you got. If it was me, I got the sativa. That's right. Cool Cat saying, I agreed with Overdrive host saying Vince should not get retirement jersey. Yeah, I agree with this too. Overdrive said this. Josh Lewenberg has said this. I mean, Josh Lewenberg is in the machine for Bell at TSN, and he very much is not okay with this. And he's made it very clear that he's not. And there's a lot of people that have said this. And I love that there's mainstream media people that are stepping up and saying this, regardless of people like Doug Smith and Nat Bhatia and Paul Jones that are like, we need to just get over this. No, I'm glad. Even if these guys are doing it for nefarious reasons to kind of pull apart Raptors Nation a little bit right now. No, this is an okay split. I'm okay with this split. I'm okay with young people just blindly loving Vince Carter and doing this because we're doing this. But I'm also okay with people like me. They're holding out and being like this. This is how you get along with not agreeing. And in some ways, this is something that society in general needs to learn how to do again better, is that we need to be okay with people having different opinions and having differences on stuff. And in some ways, I'm not getting what I want, but I'm still okay with people celebrating and doing it the way they want to. I'm not going to get mad at somebody because they're happy for Vince. No, but I don't want somebody to get mad at me for not being happy for him. How about that? This is how we do it right here. That's right. The allowance of being your own individual and having your own thoughts. That's right. Nameless saying, how about when Vince compared his retirement ceremony to a woman's love being validated by a man? I almost shit myself. I know. That was hilarious. And he even kind of knew that what he said was kind of fucked up. And he kind of apologized to the female reporter. And he's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of sexist and kind of weird what you did, Vince, when you said that. Yeah, that was hilarious. I'm glad you brought that up, Nameless. I saw that too. That was in the post ceremony interview. Like, he wasn't even polished in that. He was all over the place. He could have done it then. He had 3 opportunities yesterday to apologize. He didn't have to even do it in the ceremony. He could have done it in the post ceremony interview, and he still didn't take the opportunity to do it. It's ridiculous. And then he says, "Was that a good one?" Oh my gosh, that guy. So he's saying people in their 20s weren't around when Vince was here. They would not have an idea of how bad it was at the end. Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's in some ways why we have to talk about it. You know, like I said, and I know I keep bringing up this example, young people would not know the atrocities the Canadian government did to Aboriginal people if we just excluded those kind of facts. And I'm not saying these are equal kind of things. It's the genocide and awful things that happen with Indigenous people on this planet, on this continent, is really awful. But I'm just saying it's a similar kind of action in some ways, if you know what I mean. That young people need to know the truth about history. They need to know the ugly truth about slavery. They need to know the ugly truth about blacklisting or red listing housing from Black people. And then some people, you know, that if they don't know this, they don't have a fully formed opinion. And in some ways, we are encouraged to make the same mistakes in the future if we do not understand the dark history and the dark stuff that's not so pretty about things. And that's why I worry about this, because I don't want Scotty Barnes to be like Vince Carter or Chris Bosh. I want him to be like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. In some ways, Scotty, you can hear me. You ever watch me? Any of your people watch me? Lloyd's watching me. I don't care who's watching me. Of your camp, and I say this, go the route of DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, and you will be a beloved person in Canada for the rest of your life. Vince, in some ways, has a hard time being in Canada. Trust me, because he hears it from people still on the street, and you never, ever want to get that point. In some ways, Chris Bosh won't even come across the border anymore at this point. You don't want to get like that point. Vince Carter is not a role model for you. Just trust me, Scotty Barnes. He is not. Isaac saying, I am sorry over that's fine. That's fine. No, yeah, he said, I know a lot of people don't like me. I know there's mixed reviews. And he says, that's fine. That's fine. Like, he's okay with it. And that's fine. I guess it's fine for him. Okay, that's fine for me to be like totally against what's happening right now. That's what I'm saying. Kareem saying, Lex called Vince a general whore because he played for so many teams. That's a 50-50 dunk, 10-pointer for Lex. Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, you got passed around by the NBA, Vince. Seriously, in some ways. It's like, seriously, bro. All right, let me see. Where's a 10-pointer for me? All right, I'll do that. I'll respect the dunk champion because it's his realm. In some ways, this is the dunk champion, the greatest dunker of all time that I respect more than Vince Carter is Kareem Thomas, is what I would say right there. Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Cowboys laughing. There's a lot of laughs today. I'm sure I'm entertaining today. I'm sure very entertaining today. Kareem saying, does Vince have a PR team to advise and clean up his mess, or is his mother holding his hand and wiping his ass still? Damn, Kareem's coming right today. Dude, I'm going to turn around and give you one right back because honestly, that's about right there. I think that's right. I don't think he does have a PR team, obviously, because he's not being very self-aware in what he's doing right now. And I'm sure maybe his PR team is his mother. Yeah, that's probably exactly right. Oh, Vince, you were so good. I love what you'd said. So you're so nice to help the poor Raptors players that are stuck here in Canada. Oh, you're so nice to hold out a hand to them, to help them get the fuck out of here. Oh, man. Kareem, man, you were awesome, man. Isaac saying, honestly, the most important moment in Raptors history was repairing the damage that Vince left. People felt the Raptors were not a credible team to land stars and free agents. I know, and he reinforced this yesterday. We've done a lot of work in the work of Lowry and DeRozan and Masai to build us as a destination. Meanwhile, Vince is still stuck in this world where nobody wants to play in Toronto. And he said that in his thing last night. He said, yeah, nobody wants to come to Toronto. I was like, yeah, really? Nobody wants to come to Toronto. He said it himself again last night. What an asshole. What an asshole. That is not true. First of all, and you purporting it and you being part of the ESPN media machine that believes this and purports this. Yeah, that's just you falling in line with your corporate overlord employer. in some ways. You're just speaking your talking points from down south. You're in a fucking ceremony where we're honoring you, you piece of shit. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Isaac's saying, honestly, the most important moment in rap. Oh, yeah, I read that already. Yeah, and that work by DeMar and Kyle was important, and Masai. That was building our team and making us respected and having a culture that's correct for our team. The culture that Vince established for us was not correct, was not right. It's fluff, it's sizzle, it's not steak. Isaac's saying took a lot of internal growth to get to a championship. Yeah, he set us out on that path. You're right, Masai. But boy, did he dig us a hole to get out of to start to get down that path. That's for sure. Yeah, let's go, new era. That's right, Cowboy. That's right. Kaz is saying, Lex, fuck everything and everyone. Sometimes I will say that. Sometimes I will say that. And I'll be perfectly happy with it. Kaz, I hope you're driving safe today. Always love my trucker guy, my trucker raptor freak out there riding around town. Cool Cat saying, Allen Iverson didn't get a jersey retirement, but Vince. Raptors business first mindset. Raptors front office treat better those who don't care about us compared to players who love us. I said what I said. You know what? I'm going to get behind you on this. And you're talking about this for Siakam. I know you are. I know you are. In some ways, DeRozan too. Yeah. In some ways, this is part of the thing that I'm pissed off about. If we were right as a franchise, we wouldn't be shitting on people like Pascal and DeMar and trading them out. And we would be honoring them and keeping them long-standing. In some ways, I'd rather have a team that took care of people like Morris Peterson, Alvin Williams, DeMar DeRozan, than a team that's like trying to kiss the ass of the superstar who's the number one player who is not actually respecting us on the down low. Seriously, I'm totally with this, with Cool Cat on this. And I'm shocked. You're saying Allen Iverson has not had his jersey retired in Philadelphia? Why is that? Is it because of acrimony or something that happened there? Because that doesn't make no sense. He's been retired way longer than Vince Carter. And in some ways, he's a very important Sixer. So if the Sixers don't have to retire Iverson's jersey, why do we have to retire Carter's? Is what I'm saying right there. Boom goes a dynamite. Cool Cat coming correct. We are growing. Let's go, Cowboy. Let's go. Kareem saying, bing bong, the Knicks are dead. They do realize they gave up 15 points in Dante DiVincenzo and basically a 20 and 10 player in Julius Randle for Cat, who flakes in the playoffs. Ha ha! I like the scenario you're painting for the future for the Knicks. We'll have to see, Kareem. We'll have to see. It could go either way. I could see it being a huge, booming success. I could also see it being something like what you're saying. Smooth saying, the actions of Vince left the Raptors in shambles. It's allowed Chris Bosh to do what he did. People don't understand the severity of it. Exactly. And that's why coming around and honoring this kind of energy, again, on our team, this is dangerous. What is this message to those young Raptors that are sitting on the court? We just got this great rookie class, Masai. And what is the message you're sending to Prince Shamshay about this shit? Like, seriously, don't let Vince give his number to Ulrich. Do not let Vince give his number to Ulrich. Ulrich, you do not need to talk to Vince Carter. Don't talk to him. I know you're already talking to LeBron and Clutch and shit because they're your agency, but this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Exactly what Smooth's saying right here. Cowboys saying two-finger salute to the Knicks. Yeah, we're going to still beat you. I love that. Alley-oop to Smooth. Sure. We'll give Smooth the alley-oop. In some ways, I need to do the classic card. This is making me remind me of that. 44 dunks for Smooth. You're at the Chuck Hayes now, my guy. Yeah. Bryce is saying, I went to go listen to see if he said anything about helping the players leave if they want out, and I didn't hear it. I'm going to need you to give me a timestamp of something because I didn't hear him say that. Bryce, you're in our Facebook chat. After the stream, I will go and I'll get it, and I'll put it in, and I'll specifically for you in the Facebook chat, and you'll be able to hear it. He lists like a list. Like he's telling the players. It's when he's like addressing our players, and he's saying, guys, I'm here for you. I want to be a mentor to you as a Raptors legend. And if you guys need any help with anything, and he starts listing things like he would help them with. And he said, going to other teams first. Oh my gosh, Bryce. I'll timestamp it and I'll send it to you in the chat after this. Brian saying, what's up, Freak Nation? Just came up to give Lex my view. My 7th niece was born this morning, so I'm heading out, y'all. All right, Brian, congratulations on your 7th niece being born this morning. And I hope you're having a great morning, King. Y'all check out To The Point and follow Brian's YouTube channel. Smooth saying it, Bryce. He said being true to game opens up opportunities with your team or somewhere else. Yeah, he said something like that. It's kind of what he was saying. He was intimating that. Kaz is saying congrats to Brian. I like that. Bryce is saying, nah, Lex said he said that word for word. I didn't hear it. I'm going to find it. And I'll let you hear it. I may be interpreting, but it is what he said. He said other teams at one point. Look at the point where he says other teams. That's the thing that pissed me off. I'm like, motherfucker, you going to tell them that you're going to help them get to other teams? Like with what you did in your history on the Raptors? Seriously? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Smith saying toward the end, Vince was literally walking up the court and chucking threes. Yeah, he wasn't trying. G saying, I actually think this trade is good for the Timberwolves too. They have a great player off the bench, and I think Randall has matured on and off the court. Oh, yeah, Julius Randle's a quality player, and it could very well be that he does flourish in Minnesota. So I'll be interested to see that. In some ways, I like Julius. I really do. I wasn't a big fan of his early in his career, but over time, I've really got a lot of respect for Julius Randle. And this new chapter for him and the Timberwolves could be very interesting. Very, very interesting. The T-Wolves in some ways need a shakeup because they were disappointing in the playoffs, even though they had such an amazing season. So it's going to be interesting to see. Once again, both teams are shook up their chemistry, and we'll have to see how it sits now with the new additions going both ways. Cool Cat saying ticket sales are down big time. I'm only buying 2 tickets this year to see Siakam play. Still pissed about the lack of communication in reference to the trade of Siakam. Pacers giving him leadership support. Yeah, you know what? Once again, and you said this before this all went down, when Siakam was still on the team and Cool Cat was talking about her interest for Siakam first over team interest, and I was still holding with the Raptors. I will say on the other side of this, Cool Cat, I'm with you. That I'm very, very happy that Siakam landed on his feet in a good place with the Pacers where he's respected. He has a real chance to compete. He has a great coach, and he is a leader on that team in the way he should have been for us. So I'm not hating on this in any kind of way. And you know what? I do have a little bit of your feelings, but in some ways I also understand the Raptors had to shed their skin as a team to go to the next era, and Siakam was a big part of the last era. And in some ways, it just was naturally something that had to happen, if not the money dictating it. Now, maybe they didn't handle it this right situation, but then again, I could make the argument that they did, because instead of blindsiding Siakam like they did DeMar, Siakam knew the writing was on the wall pretty much all of last season while he was still a Raptor. And we facilitated a trade with him to a place that he very much chose himself. So I can't say that we did Siakam wrong. Like you've tried to say, we made every allowance for him in the right way, respectfully, and he got what he wanted. And I don't think we should be upset for Siakam in that way. He's very happy. It's not like DeMar where he got traded and blindsided. Siakam saw it coming, and we worked it out for him. So I can't get that mad about it. In some ways, you could get mad that we didn't invest in him and decide he was our franchise face and we were going forward with him, sure. But you can't get mad at how we handled trading him, because we gave him extra time, actually. And a chance, a half a season of a chance last year. We could have easily tried to trade him in the summer. So, yeah, and ticket sales are down. That's right. Isaac saying, quietly hoping the box car of the day is Vince Carter. All right, yeah, let's do this. Since Isaac brought it up, this is hilarious. At 10:41, I'm going to go extra time. There's a lot to talk about today. I don't care. I'm crazy. This box is very full now, so we're going to have some new cards, because of Trevor J., the Commissioner Fund being so awesome. Oh, wow. Okay. We've got a kind of a timely card for a team that was involved in the trade yesterday. So it's not one of the players involved in the trade, but let's see if you guys can name who this classic card of the day. It is Mosaic, so there is a bit of a reflection. So let's see. He's already written Vince Carter in. He didn't whore himself to that team, Isaac. All right. So on the Timberwolves, who is this player right here, guys? Who knows the classic card today? Smooth Brown Man. Isaac Campbell, Seymour Pape, Kareem Thomas, Cool Cat, Fiercely Salsera. Any of y'all know who this cool classic card of the day is right here? Let's see who it is. Let's see who it is right here. Yeah. Malik Beasley is right. Omari Parsons getting it on the right shot. That is Malik Beasley. So Omari's going to get the points. I don't think David is here. So I'll adjudicate that Omari's getting 150 points for this classic card. Let me go write it in just to make sure I don't forget. But yeah, Malik Beasley, whose team is he on? Is he still on the Timberwolves right now? I'm not totally sure. I'll write this in real quick in the classic cards so David knows who is the winner of the classic card today. Make sure that he knows. All right, let me see. Where's the date for today? We'll put in Malik Beasley, and it's Omari, and we're giving him 150 points. There you go, Omari. Good job on the classic card of the day. Malik Beasley. Yeah, we're going to have good classic cards going forward. Awesome stuff. Very, very awesome stuff. All right, let's go back to where we are in the chat. I think it was 10:50, something like that. 10:50, 10:30 or something. Okay, here we are. I think I'm right here. Right here. There we go. Isaac's put Scotty on blast. Smooth saying, all I want him to do is apologize. Not any of this enjoy the moment BS. Kawhi Leonard vibes. Exactly. It's totally like Kawhi at our championship parade. Like everybody's wondering, Kawhi, are you coming back? He's like, enjoy the moment. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Uncle Dennis told me to leave. Seymour saying Knicks getting Towns is a good move, but if the Knicks don't get successful, this is a big, big problem. Yeah. Cass saying Doug Smith can join the garbage with Dougie Ford. Yeah, let's put those Dougs in the garbage for sure. You know, Doug, I have a love-hate relationship with Doug Smith. In some ways, he has been very informative. He is an important journalist in the Raptors history, but also he has been a piece of crap at times too. Smooth saying, when Leonard said, enjoy the moment, I knew he was gone. Vince saying that gave me flashbacks. I know. So you got the same thing as me. I was like, enjoy the moment, Canada, because you know what? You're starved for basketball greatness and victories because you're the Raptors and you're a second-class NBA team in this league. That's what that speaks of. That's the full statement right there by Leonard and Carter in those moments. That's what it is right there, Masai. You can't fool me. I understand what it is. Seymour saying, Bruno gives me Vince vibes, a rival, a Hawk, a Celtic, but hey, what do I know? I know you've been against Bruno a bit because of his ties to Celtics Nation. But yeah, I think that hopefully he'll make the team because I think we need his size, especially since Koloko went to Lakers. We need Bruno Fernando to make this team. As much as I like Jamias Ramsey, and there are injuries to our guards with Jacoby Walter and Bruce Brown out. In some ways, Jamias Ramsey has more of a shot to make the team because Jacoby Walter's arm's in a sling. I still think we need to shore up the bigs and put Fernando on the roster, Masai. And the reason why is because I want Scotty slotted down in the roster. If we have more bigs on the team, Scotty doesn't have to play power forward. He can go down to small forward or even guard. So that's part of it. It's like, look, you guys can say we're shorted at guards because Bruce and Jacoby aren't ready for the season, but that's bullshit because we got Scotty Barnes. And if we have Emmanuel Quickly, DJ Carton, Jamal Shed, Grady Dick, yeah, we've got guards. We can play RJ at guard too. So let's not worry about being short-staffed at guard because we have Davion Mitchell also. So, yeah, I'm not worried about Bruce Brown being out. And Jacoby, well, it's too bad he's going to miss training camp. That's really, really an important, integral part of your rookie year. And him missing training camp is going to set him back. And Jacoby, man, just get healthy and get back because you need to be getting going on your career. You don't want any setbacks. Just ask Christian Koloko. Trust me. Trust me. Yeah, Kaz saying Lex being salty about Vince is like me being salty about Kawhi. I don't care if we want to chip with him. Fuck Kawhi. You know, I'm like that with Kawhi to an extent. Now, I respect Kawhi for what he did on our team as a player and being a finals MVP and being one of the greatest seasons ever played by a Toronto Raptor. But I don't respect his decision, his knuckleheaded decision to not come back and try and repeat and try and defend the title. No, I don't respect that at all. And I don't respect that he on the down low is somebody that doesn't really appreciate the love and gratitude that the Canada has for him. In some ways, he doesn't get it. And once again, there may be an ego thing, and maybe just Americans just not really keeping Canada on the same count as their country, that he doesn't look at like what he had in Canada as something valuable. He walked away from it. And in some ways, yeah, I'm with you on this, Kaz. I'm not the biggest fan of Kawhi Leonard. And I'll say this. If we're going to retire Vince's jersey, well, now we got to retire Chris Bosh's and Kawhi Leonard's too. That looks so stupid. Why would we retire number 2 for Kawhi Leonard for one season, even if it's a championship year? Why would we retire Chris Bosh's 4 for taking his talents to South Beach when we have a young player named Barnes that rocks that same number? Yeah, that 15, if it's up in the rafters and no names on it, I'm putting Johnson over it. I'm putting Garbajosa over it. I'm putting, even a failure of Anthony Bennett over it as 15s that I appreciate more. Yeah, Seymour saying, trust me, Vince knows exactly what he's doing. He's laughing at us on the inside. That's the thing that's pissing me off, Seymour. And that's why more people should be pissed because the energy from him tells us this, that he's going to be above us now in the rafters with his name, above the Raptors fans who booed him forever. Now, I don't think Masai understood the visuals of that and how you kind of sold us out, MLSE, by retiring this jersey. I also say, I think that the very quickness of this happening may have something to do with Rodgers taking ownership of the team. It could very well be that one of the first things Ed Rodgers said when he took over main ownership of the team is we're retiring Vince's jersey now. No more half-assing. I understand this toxicness. And in some ways, I revel in this kind of shit. I want to punish Raptors Nation. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure you guys have to retire the jersey. And the media head saying this has to happen, well, it just kind of reinforces that Rodgers at the top is one who ordained this and said, Masai, you have to do this. I'm sorry. This is my first order of business. Y'all are retiring Vince Carter's jersey this year. And we don't have any choice. That could very well be the truth, that Ed Rodgers was the final nail in the stake that made it so that this had to happen. Yeah, Seymour sees it. He sees exactly what I see, that Vince knows exactly what's happening. And in some ways, he's relishing it because in some ways, he's getting over the Boo Birds literally, like literally over us because his jersey retirement will be over us. Yeah. Seymour saying, I can see Lex at age 85 telling Raptors Nation, get rid of that damn 15. Yeah, I'm just not going to acknowledge it. And so, as far as I'm concerned, the speaker fire burned out that section of the roof of the rafters in the Scotiabank Arena. In some ways, I'm just not going to acknowledge it. I'm not going to acknowledge it. Whoever gets retired next will be the first jersey retirement in my mind. And this is just a farce. This is just a coerced ceremony that was happening just because the NBA told us we had to, is what I'm going to say. Yeah, congratulations to Brian on the niece. That's really cool. Cool Cat saying, Lex, don't get me wrong. I agree. Vince should not get the honor from us. It's not deserved. I forgive, but never forget. There you go. I love that. Front office pissed me off with this too, just managing my emotions. Cool Cat. And I don't want to make people more upset. In some ways, I'm managing my emotions by doing the live stream. In some ways, I'm just happy I have a voice that can be put out and some people are listening to it. So, and I'm also want to give you guys a voice too. And in y'all's comments, me reading them, this is how we get a voice for you guys too. So we're heard. We have different opinions on it. Some of us are in different levels of the spectrum as far as Vince love and Vince hate. And, they all need to be heard. They all need to be heard. Yeah, Seymour saying half-ass, half amazing. Yeah, half-ass. Half-ass, exactly. Seymour saying Vince goes in that tragic Alonzo Mourning category. He always was in that category. He's been in that category all along with me since he left. I get it. The period of time where Vince was a beloved Raptors person was a very short compared to the time where he's been hated. And that's just the damn truth. That's just the damn truth. Kareem saying, I'll be watching very closely to Vince's acceptance speech with the Nets. That will determine a lot about his character and his feelings towards Toronto. This is actually a really good point, Kareem. Let's see how he comes to correct towards the Nets and what's going to happen later this season. In some ways, he just is in his ego. I'm going into the Hall of Fame. I'm getting 2 jerseys retired. Oh, I'm so great. That's kind of how he's acting right now. And in some ways, he's not humble about it. He's not humble at all about it. And that sucks. In some ways, this is true. Kareem, we can see the difference. We'll see how he treats the Toronto stuff with the Brooklyn stuff. And if there's a very stark difference, yeah, Raptors fans, you'll see that we've been fucking had. And we've had to do this for a fucking shim-sham man. That's right. That's right. Bryce is saying, can we talk about Jose Calderon? It's his birthday today. No more Vince talk. It's a major turnoff. That's fine. Listen, Bryce, I know in some ways you love LeBron. You love Vince, and that's fine. You're a younger person. In some ways, I diss LeBron and Vince, and much to your chagrin. And you're right. Let me do the birthdays real quick. I almost thought about changing the Share the Love Club to Jose Calderon today. But I was like, nah, you already stepped in towards John Saunders, and you don't want to do that. Let's honor John Saunders. But yeah, Jose is somebody awesome. And it is his birthday today. So happy to see. There's a lot of Raptor birthdays today, guys. Actually, Jose Calderon's birthday. It's Kem Birch's birthday today, guys. Great and honored Raptor alumni, Kem Birch, and Team Canada player for us this summer. Kem Birch is his birthday today. He is 32 today, guys. Happy 32nd birthday. Juancho Hernan Gomez is his birthday also. Briefly a Raptor, Team Spain. Juancho's birthday is today. Happy birthday to Bo Cruz. And once again, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's Rod Black's birthday, former announcer for the Raptors. Rod Black of TSN and on the TV for so long. He's retired now. So many, many birthdays today. Jose Calderon, Kem Birch, Juancho Hernan Gomez, and Rod Black. 2 great Spanish Raptors on that birthday list today. Yeah, I'm going to do more love for Jose down the road. I'm definitely going to come around and circle back for a very celebrated, awesome former Toronto Raptor, Jose Calderon, who's untarnished with his record. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Seymour saying, of all areas, Dixon, laugh out loud. Okay, Vince. Well, that was the place where they put the initial court in 2003. The Embassy of Hope, his foundation built a court for the people in that community. And so it's just the same place they went to with it. Yeah, it makes sense. Isaac saying best Vince Carter, a nickname for the rest of 2024, Air America. That's pretty good. I like that. Vince Carter, half man. Yes, I said half man, and that's it. Just half man. Those are good. Isaac, I think those are all good. In fact, I'm going to give you a 3-pointer for each one. So you're getting 9-pointer here. 9 points for each one because I thought all three were as money. All three are money. So Isaac, you're getting a 9-pointer. It's 131. 131 dunks for Isaac on that. Very good. Very good. Bryce is saying, who handled the situation worse, Vince or Rob Babcock? I mean, they both handled it badly, but it's not a competition. In some ways, once again, we can look at DeMar's situation and say, okay, Masai's the bad guy. DeMar didn't do anything wrong. Did DeMar do anything wrong? No, he got wronged. But Vince did things wrong. He very much did things wrong. Rob Babcock did things wrong too. He was an idiot. And in some ways, yeah, people make that excuse. The front office, the coach, they were all sucked. Vince was on a bad team. No, the bullshit was Vince bought into the noise like his cousin, Tracy McGrady, and said, oh, you're never going to be as big as you can be in Canada, and you need to go to the States. And he wanted to leave. And then all of a sudden at the end, when he saw his effect on the people, people saying, no, what are you doing? You're selling us out. And he started maybe realizing legacy. He said, no, Sam Mitchell, I don't want to get traded the day he got traded. And it was too late. Rob Babcock had already put pen to paper and the deal was going through. I wish we could have ripped it up and said, no, we don't want Alonzo Mourning. Vince has changed his mind. He's willing to stay here and Vince is going to work with Sam Mitchell. But all his whining and complaining and being a prima donna that summer and telling Rob Babcock he wasn't working fast enough to get him traded is the reason why he got traded. And in some ways, Rob Babcock was on the record as saying, he's our franchise player. He's under contract. We expect him to play for us. But no, Vince was a little whiny crybaby, and he came in the public and said, they're not trying to trade me fast enough. I'm not going to try. I'm going to force a trade. And then he waffled and said he didn't want to be traded. Now, that just sounds like an idiot to me. And in some ways, you're sure, Rob Babcock is one of the worst GMs in the history of the NBA, but Vince Carter started that whole situation himself. Bad GMs are bad GMs, and people languish on bad teams with bad GMs every day in the NBA. That's not an excuse for doing what Vince did. I'm sorry. Seymour saying, when West Hill and Malvern had beef, Vince went to Malvern. Antonio Davis came to Hill. And when we heard Vince went to Malvern in 2003, Mans was cheesed. This is like a little territorial beefs here. Trevor saying, we agree to disagree. That's how things go. That's right. That's right. And that's the grown-up way to be. And our society needs to be more like this in some ways. Now, listen, agreeing to disagree isn't I'm racist and you're I agree. I disagree with you because I'm a racist. No, if you're a racist, you're a piece of shit and you're on the wrong side of things. So don't agree to disagree on racism. Nah, you're just a piece of shit if you're racist, is what I'll say on that. Mischief saying, I respect your opinion about Crybaby Carter. He sabotaged the Raptors. There you go. Big man, the base man is on that. Mr. I don't want to dunk anymore. I know. Seriously. Meanwhile, we got DeMar DeRozan. He's Mr. I am Toronto. And then we got Vince Carter, Mr. I don't want to dunk anymore. Mr. Half Man, leaving the rest out. Let's see. Trevor's saying, Dennis, rent a Red Hook townhouse, $40,000 a month, option to pay to buy 440 Van Brunt Street in Brooklyn. You're talking about Dennis Schroeder? Okay, that's interesting. Vince Carter. Okay. Cool Cat saying, Lex, I don't mind the trade. Masai himself said he didn't communicate with Siakam and he was sorry for that. Masai was led to tears in the end. Yeah, I mean, look, that can't be easy. That tightrope a front office has to walk with possibly wanting to trade a player all of a sudden. This is why Cat got blindsided yesterday. In some ways, you don't want to open that door with your player and say, we're kind of looking around at what's offered for you right now. What if nothing comes of it and you just made the situation bad? So it's a real tightrope, Cool Cat, to walk with players as far as things. And we know Siakam was like DeMar. He said, I am Toronto. I want to be with Toronto Raptors my whole career. And in some ways, you got to respect that. And in some ways, you don't want Masai coming to him and saying, we're trying to trade you right now. Like, how's that going to make Siakam feel? So it's a really sensitive kind of situation that you have to deal with very carefully in the right order. And sometimes things happen so quickly with the transaction that people do get blindsided or communication just can't happen a certain way. In some ways, I get it. Maybe it was the summer before he got traded, 2 summers ago, when Siakam was in Austria and with Red Bull. And in some ways, we should have been reaching out, trying to talk to him more when we were first starting out with Darko and Nick Nurse not being around anymore. Yeah, I get it. In some ways, we should have communicated with Siakam when he was in exile in Austria that summer. Yeah, let's see. Larissa Pippen's ex is Malik Beasley. There you go. Pippen's wife's first fling. There you go. There you go. Nins is saying Bucks, I think. Bucks, I think. Yeah, he's on the Bucks now. Malik Beasley. That makes sense. Nins, that makes sense. I'm gonna give you a dunk because I think that's right. I think that Malik Beasley is on the Bucks at this point. Very informative, and thank you for giving us the information. 11 for you. You got that Bruce Brown. You got that Bruce Brown, Nins. Let's see. Bryce is saying, I think he's a Piston. No, I think he's a Buck. I think that's right. I think that's right. Yeah, that's where he is. Cool Cat saying, I'm actually in a good place. I'm not attached to any player right now. We are rebuilding, so the 10-year players are in flex mode as we find our way. I'm not going to do this emotional detachment thing. In some ways, I'm going to feel it still. Like if anything weird happens with Scotty Barnes, yeah, I'm going to feel it. It's at that point, at this point. Too much time on Twitch, too much time loving the guy and hoping the best for him as the franchise face of the Raptors. And, if he does me like Vince does at some point, that's going to be very sad. And you're going to hear me unfiltered on that. Seriously, I hope he never does. Like I said, Scotty, Vince Carter is a horrible role model as a Raptor. And the best role model is Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. And in some ways, you need to look at those guys. That's what I'm saying. Carlos saying, so does anyone know the second apron implications of the Knicks T-Wolves trade? Well, we know Randall has a pretty sizable salary also. And DiVincenzo added up with Randall. And there was a third team involved in the trade that took another player from the Knicks. Jeffries went to the Charlotte Hornets. So I think that they balanced it all out by adding the Hornets into the deal and sending money and Jeffries over to them. So yeah, I think that they're okay still, but they probably are going to be paying into the second apron. I think that's most likely already just because of the contracts they have with Bridges and Anunoby and Brunson's even discounted deal. Yeah, with Cat in there also. Yeah. Smooth saying Leonard's LA life is ingrained in him, man. He doesn't care about winning. He just wanted to be in LA. Yeah. Different players have different motives. In some ways, Vince just wanted to be a part of the NBA family. That was his biggest motive, was to be a part of the NBA family, not necessarily the Raptors family, the NBA family. That was his most important thing to him. Isaac saying, breaking news, tomorrow's stream, Lex retires Raptors legend Greg Monroe and his big 15. Yeah, I'll go down there. I'm retiring Moose Monroe's 15 before you do this, Masai. No, don't get mad at me, Masai. It's for the best. Just trust me. Yeah, we're going to retire Greg Monroe instead. Yeah, he was on the championship team, wasn't he? Oh, he wasn't? He was right around it? Well, all right. Well, can we do Amir Johnson instead? He had Hanging with Amir. He's so cool. Like they went to medieval times. Come on, let's just retire 15 for Amir Johnson, please. Please, I'm begging you. Bryce is saying, well, Vince used to be a favorite of mine. Not so much anymore. Laugh out loud. But Bron, that's my guy. Yeah, it's all good, Bryce. And once again, we allow everything and everybody to have different things. And dude, you're awesome, man. I appreciate having a Raptor freak down in Kentucky and also a younger guy that's involved in our channel. So yeah, listen, once again, I'm okay with you having your favorites and everything like that. And it is what it is. In some ways, I like LeBron to the point where I don't want him to go down the ship with Puff Daddy. So, I have enough respect and love for LeBron. It's like, I don't want to see him get involved in a sex scandal with the freak out parties and stuff like that. So in some ways, I do have a respect for LeBron on a certain level, but not totally, not the same as the people that idolize him. Not like that, though. Bryce is saying, I never knew these things about Vince, and I can't stand a quitter. See, that's what I'm saying. Bryce is a younger fan, and he wasn't around when the Vince stuff happened, and he totally quit on us. And the worst thing about it, Bryce, was unlike other players who have quit on their teams before, he had the audacity and the arrogance to publicly say to the press, yeah, I wasn't trying for the Raptors on purpose. Like that is even more salt in the wound because that teaches the behavior that you can disrespect the Raptors franchise. That we are, and in some ways, what we did yesterday just encouraged that even further in the present time. That in some ways, it's like this dude openly admitted he quitted, and in some ways, he hasn't apologized for that, Bryce. That's the biggest thing that I'm waiting for is that he hasn't apologized for quitting on our team and forcing a trade out of our city. And that's why we have a problem with him. We can look at the dunk highlights. We can look at all the amazing things he did in games sometimes. but it's not the full picture of the story. And that's what it is right there. Yeah, Wayne's saying Ramsey's inclusion for tryouts is awesome. Our preseason trial squad looks very competitive and augments well for a very good roster going in. I'm very excited. I can't think of anyone left out. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I'm excited about Ramsey circling back and being possibly on the Raptors this season. We'll have to see how training camp goes in the preseason. And maybe Jemias has a spot on the Raptors full time this season. I think it's between him and Bruno Fernando, and he is probably less likely than Bruno, is what I'm going to say right now. Big up the Raptors freaks from Blackhawk. I love it. Knicks now have an open spot by this trade. So who will they get next? I don't know. Is there some other? Is whatchamacallit? That one Villanova guy who was on the team that they cut, Diano or whatever. Is that guy going to come back so that they can have their Villanova quotient up to par as far as with DiVincenzo going to Minnesota? They're going to go get Arcandiaggio or whatever the fucking his name is. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're going to bring him back. A creep saying, I really wish we got more than Brown, Nwora, and picks for Siakam. Just comparing, we could have gotten so much more considering we got RJ and quickly for OG, but still to be determined. Well, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, Jacoby Walter is on that list. We got Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, Jacoby Walter, and you could probably say Ochai Agbaji too, because one of the picks went to Utah, and we got him. And then there's still another pick coming from that Indiana trade. So it's a whole collection of guys. And, you know, if Walter hits or the first round pick we got from Indiana next year hits as a player, well, those will be the things that show. And plus, we turn around and trade Bruce Brown. In some ways, that's part of the Pascal trade tree we've got to keep into factoring in of what we got for Siakam also. So we trade Bruce Brown this season. What we get for him is actually part of what we got for Siakam also. So we have to see. I'm Shake saying, what's your thoughts on Vince Carter after the jersey retirement? Oh, my gosh. Well, I would say this, my guy. There's a lot on here. And if you watch from the very beginning of the stream, watch it at 1.5 speed, you will hear it all. And, man, I don't hold back. There's a lot there. And I appreciate you being here. I'm Shake. And welcome to the Raptor Freak stream, 9:30 a.m. every single day. I'm going to wrap up soon. I'm coming up on 3 hours, which is an hour over what I usually do. Let me see. Today we've been celebrating John Saunders as the original voice of the Raptors. John Saunders is a broadcasting legend. His legacy is sound and great and beautiful. And we love you, John, for being true to Canada and being one of the original voices of the Raptors. And you'll never be forgotten. So we want to share the love for John Saunders, the great broadcaster, for his college football, for his Raptors calls on City TV, so many different things he did. Yeah, I won't go over that part anymore. Y'all, if you are going to be a part of our Raptor Freak Fantasy League, y'all need to go check your emails and get in, because I am not going to let everybody in from last time. So just so you know, guys, that's what's up. All right, I'm going to finish up and get out of here. I appreciate guys. Trevor, I did the classic card. I did it already. It was Malik Beasley. You may have stepped away at that moment. It was Malik Beasley. And Omari got it. All right, guys, thanks for watching me today. Tomorrow I'll have a Sunday special report. I'm not totally sure what my subject may be. Maybe I'll go in a little bit more on the Vince stuff since it's the topic du jour. Maybe we'll ignore it. I don't know. I haven't totally decided how I want to deal with it, but maybe I will be talking about it more tomorrow. Yeah. Go back and watch it, Shake. It's hilarious. Like there's a lot of good points in there. And, you may not totally agree with some of the stuff I'm saying, but I'm okay with it. I want everybody to have their own opinions, think for themselves, but I want the truth to be out there. And the media may sugarcoat things and make things certain ways. Josh Lewinberg is not. I appreciate him for it. I have a lot of respect for Josh Lewinberg this week. But in Overdrive guys too, even though they may be usually dumping on the Raptors for nefarious reasons, this is actually a good reason to dump on the Raptors right now. This is actually a good reason. Isaac's got me. Love him there. And Ninja's saying, enjoy the rest of your day, Lex. Back at you. Get out there and touch grass and do your day the Raptor way. Nad Batia says, forgive and forget. Well, I'm trying, Nav. It'd go a long way if Vince would get out of his own ego and just a little bit of a half-ass apology. Since you do everything half-ass, just half-ass apology. And that may be enough. That may be enough for me. I don't know. All right, y'all. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll be back tomorrow live, 9:30 a.m. talking Raptors every single day. That's right. Name's saying, if I had to hear Vince say, I played in the league for 22 years, one more goddamn time. I know. Oh, my gosh. I know, man. I know exactly what you're talking about, Nameless. All right, guys. Make sure your legacy is sound. How about that? And if you're going to talk about legacy, Vince, maybe you should have thought about that when you were younger, what your legacy would be when you quit on our team, because that's the legacy you got, bro. That's the legacy you got, a quitter. And that's what it is. All right, y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Let's go.